Welcome to the LXC.
Down in the rift again, where champions ascend. Warden League lights the night.
The good ult. The ignite is put onto the Gragas, but it's not going to matter. The orange knockup is going to land, but what a flash E from the Gragas, hitting the immediately, having to jump over Viego, predicting it with his R. Braum blocking the Ornar, and just like that is going to, and we're going to see a trade in the bot lane to fight. He is going to miss. The Gragas ult isn't going to connect, throwing this back into the game. Ezreal being a little bit far back. The Ahri ult is going to connect. Malignant is going to kill the Lux. The ults are coming out. Syndra is going to get blown up. Ahri in deep in the middle of it. Shutdown is going to go to the set. Ezreal is going to claim a double kill. We're going to continue fighting.
5k, 3k, 2k.
Oh, Diego having the flash and be able to do anything.
Wait, this could be the fight.
Set falling down. The stun does connect on the Ezreal, but there's nothing that anybody can get to. I mean,
You need to end it here. This is the point.
Doesn't matter to Gragas. Gragas just does all the damage. And here comes the volleys. The volleys are executed immediately. Not a chance. Hextol has been claimed. The Lilia might just fall again. The Q does land.
It does the
W comes in. Are we going to see a penta? We're not going to see a penta.
Gragas takes the kill.
Rising up, we'll take the floor.
Hello, welcome to LXC, where we are playing some Warden games for week 5, getting really closed in on the standings now. And I'm Scarlet Q, and I'm here with a special guest today for both production and casting temporarily. Say hello to Soulkeeper, everyone's favorite caster.
Yeah, I made my debut of casting last week, and now it's gonna be a thing apparently.
Yeah, but not for long. We will get you set up with a real caster, and Soulkeeper will go back to the background. Unfortunately, I know you guys are gonna miss him. But
Back to my
we'll
closet.
Right. So that'll be an interesting transition whenever that person comes in. It's just last minute change because of in real life circumstances. But we should get this game through really quickly because I think both teams are already ready. They're actually waiting on us. So pretty soon we should be into draft. But to speak of the teams, we're watching Shurikens versus NLE, which is a really nice game to watch this week because they're pretty interesting standings wise. You know, Shurikens is obviously on top and NLE is in 4th. But if NLE pulls up an upset, they're basically guaranteed to get in the playoffs, I believe. And at the very least, you know, we get to see that they still have some fight left in them for sure.
Yeah, standings are gonna be pretty tight. Both teams really need this game. Akuma currently sitting in 1st, but they're just barely up, one game over Seneca.
Mm-hmm.
And those teams still looking in the playoff hunt, which is going to be RAR, Ego, and now Dropping Point. NLE needs to, get these games to close that gap.
Yeah, and because there are only there are only 7 teams, and the top 5 go on. NLE, should they win today, have a pretty good chance to go into playoffs. If they lose today, I think they're still pretty locked, but they definitely want to be Ego Nog in 2 weeks, and then maybe they can pull an upset next week. Oh wait, no, Ego Nog next week, is that right? Sorry. Okay, so next week they want to be Ego Nog just to make sure that number 6 stays number 6, so they can secure their number 5 spot. And then week 7, maybe they can beat number 2 in Seneca Esports. But if not, I guess they've got the chance to be either the number 1 seed today or the number 2 seed tomorrow, or 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, very true.
And
we
if
are
not,
in the
then
draft.
they're kind of. Okay, yeah, sorry. I was looking at so many different
you're
things.
good.
There's 4 hands already. So Anivia, Zara, Cyrus, Poppy. Very interesting selection from both teams. Shuriken's really targeting some mages out. Now, I don't know if Zara's the target at mid. I'd have to look at the NLE a little bit closer. I haven't been following them as much.
This feels
Meanwhile,
support
Legionnaires
targeted.
taking out some AP junglers. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, the Braum.
I feel
Zara
some
arguably
support hate. Poppy, Brand, Zyra, Zera. I'm not feeling
support
any
can get a
love
break.
today.
There's so many flexes, but Wukong is the first pick, which is interesting. I'm not sure if it's a jungler that you really want to blind pick. At the same time, if you can make a comp around it, it works really well.
With the buff, he is very strong in jungle right now, as well as top. He was one of the champions changed in this new patch.
Oh my gosh, that's right. There was patch yesterday, and I forgot to go over that because we had to get into draft immediately. But yes, Wukong was buffed, and I'll be keeping an eye on other champions that were touched that come up in draft. Jhin, not so touched, I think.
Nope, but he's become new meta standard. Everybody's playing Jhin. Jhin and MF seems to be the handshake right now from what we're seeing.
Yeah. Jhin is gonna be there for a long time, unfortunately.
Yes, Jin's win rate
not unfortunately, some people like
massive.
Jhin. But what are they gonna pick with it, especially into the Wukong? I like the Viego. It's a little awkward to pick it before you know what the enemy jungler is playing, but with Wukong, you can definitely find some nice angles if you can outplay the Wukong. I don't think Viego was touched either this patch, but still a very solid champion that honestly has been a little underplayed in my opinion at the lower levels.
I always like the Viego pick though. It means you come in and be like, I can play your champions better than you can. The ego to just walk in and be like, I'm gonna play Viego.
Whoa, Kaisa into Jin's really exciting. I really like how this bot lane matchup works out from a spectator point of view, but not knowing the support means they're gonna have to play very carefully with how they figure out this draft before NLE locks in that support. Try to figure out what exactly they want to do in that 2v2. What would be interesting is if NLE doesn't pick their support and then you get to ban more supports, which I know Soulkeeper loves. So maybe we get to see that.
Yes.
But I suspect Shurikens will pick support here and NLE will pick support here. Leona pick makes a lot of sense, can interrupt Gen pretty nicely, can take a lot of damage nicely, and can also CC Viego. Viego does not like CC.
Nope, and there's my one trick. That's who I climbed on, was Leona. I played her all the way up. So
Yep.
big fan, love her with Kaisa, especially in the Jhin. Jin's gonna struggle to ult, and if you can do the CC chain right, it's a solid 4 seconds. Alistair,
Ooh.
great counter to the Leo. You just put the ADC
Yes.
away.
And also just preventing your support from getting banned out to make that 2v2 a little bit harder. And now we've got a solo lanes bans coming in. Just exclusively, basically,
Yeah, I
right?
think we're just gonna squeeze mid probably. That's what I would expect.
I
Well,
like that
I'm
a
wrong
lot, for
immediately.
sure.
Malphite.
Maybe it's a Malphite mid. You never know. But yeah, banned Malphite. It looks like if you're banning top laners for NLE, you can squeeze it by taking away 2 champions here and then picking a third one and making it hard to counter. However, this says to Shurikens that Legionnaires wants to play a team comp or a top laner that kind of sucks into Malphite. So maybe they answer by banning things that would be tough into that, which means if they do go this route, which they are so far with the Camille ban, we could see 4 top lane bans. We'll see what happens.
It would be fun. I kind of
because we are
expect
gonna
the
squeeze the mid
Silas
lane a little
ban
bit.
or pick here with his changes. He is really strong right now as well. I've been seeing him all over in solo queue.
Time to read the patch notes again. I am not caught up for today. Apologies.
It's basically
yeah.
control mages and some assassin.
Yeah.
Aatrox. Yep, fair. Aatrox always a pain top. Aatrox 2 kills and then the whole team can AFK and he'll just 1v9 it out.
I still think Legionnaires are going to blind pick their top laner, but I'm willing to be wrong. You could always pick an Ahri here pretty freely. I am totally wrong.
Yep, the Ahri.
Unless it's Orianna top. But Orianna, Ahri, similar kind of role. I mean, different, but similar in terms of draft picks, you know?
Yeah,
I wanna
Ori's
pick it to
basically
be safe.
taking the new standard instead of the Ahri now. Ahri's pretty much not played.
Poor Ahri. She's
Yep.
going to do the same thing. It's like Ori, you know? She's never bad. She's just not
Ori,
amazing right now.
Syndra, or somebody's playing a Zed. Kiana's back now. Silas. as
Yes, I'm excited for
assassins.
Kiana, and I'm gonna do something stupid and try and jungle a little bit with the buffs.
She
But,
works in jungle
it probably
now.
Won't,
Yep, you can
it
jungle
probably
her.
won't work out. You never know. Assassin jungles are always so interesting, but Rumble Blind is exciting. I think it works really well with the team comp so far. Absolutely, but you are opening up yourself to some nasty counter matchups, even with the pinch on the top lane that happened in second ban phase. Now, as for Orianna, how do you answer that? Definitely something that wants a team fight, it looks like, because I'm seeing a lot of R buttons being ready to be pressed. That's interesting. Could be flex. Could be okay into Orianna.
That's gonna be a Rumble mid or a Jace mid. Huh.
Right? That's not at all what I was expecting, but at this higher level, you can start to see the Jaces and the Rumbles, you know? If this is
Yes.
Arbiter and I see this stuff and I'm like, okay, well, we'll see if they can prove it here. You know, they've done the work to prove it. It's just a question of if they can perform on the day.
The old meme of NA Jace, not quite so accurate when being played inside of NA. We just don't take it to Worlds very well. Outside NA, it's
You're
a little cringe, but it's been doing fairly well in the LXC so far.
Understandable.
It's positive
And
for me.
Gnar, I do like Gnar because it does well into both potentially. I'm not that well versed on top lane matchups, but I'm pretty sure Gnar just chills out with most people that aren't like super all in whenever he's mini. So, regardless of the Rumble or the Jace, he'll be okay. Orianna, obviously okay. That's why you pick her, to be blind pickable. So I think the bot lane of the map is where things are going to get really volatile unless something interesting happens top lane.
Yeah,
Or Jace, you know, Jace can always do something spicy.
yeah, I completely agree. The show's gonna be bot lane. Rest of the lanes are kind of meh. Not too much.
Regardless, we will let you know if it is Coffee Beans or Dab playing for Shurikens of the Rumble or Jace. We'll probably get that within the next 2 minutes. And other than that, I'm kind of interested in level 1 as well, because we've got some really nice level 1 champions. You not so much, but, you know, the Jhin can do some really nasty stuff. Alistair, Leona.
I don't know that I want to walk into either of those teams.
Yeah, exactly. So it's interesting. We probably just get a 5 point.
Yeah,
But
I
we
would
might
5
not.
point
Speaking of
this.
walking in, speaking of walking in, I think someone just walked into our caster desk. We'll see if we can get him set up, but Soulkeeper will be going back to the background moment, probably by the... Let's just finish the breakout, I guess, Soulkeeper, and then you can go back to your hole for now. But thank you for filling in and stuff.
Excellent. I'll go back to my closets shortly.
Anyways, Coffee Beans is locking in right now, and it will be the Rumble top Jace mid. Rumble versus Gnar, I think, is a little bit better than Jace versus Gnar for Shurikens, so I like it. But Jace versus Orianna is kind of interesting. Obviously, they picked it wanting to go into that matchup. But I wonder if the pressure is on for Dab to be able to actually perform in this 1v1. Junglers obviously can influence it pretty early as well. Viego versus Wukong isn't exactly champions that are just waiting till 6.
No, I would agree. If you pick that Jace, you're saying you're going to win that lane. Jace has to win this lane for this team. I'd be very concerned if it goes even, then it's Orianna favored.
Yeah, and the concern is that jungle pressure might not necessarily be able to influence it that much for Legionnaire or for Shurikens, just because. I mean, I don't know. It's just like sorry, I messed up my sentence while I was working on it. For Legionnaires, Viego doesn't really call to the other lanes that much. I mean, Gnar versus Rumble sure could do something. Jhin versus Kai'Sa probably pretty good. But if I'm Viego, I'm also constantly looking at my mid lane while I'm pathing towards mid or bot, or top or bot. So regardless of which way he paths, there could be a gank after the first clear in that mid lane, which would spell trouble for Dab if he's not playing aggressively, but at the same time safely, which is always that hard balance to strike.
Yes, once Jace goes in, he doesn't really have an out button. He's just kind of in for the whole fight, just flipping to melee. And going down that route, which would make him very vulnerable to the Viego gank.
Alright, everyone give a round of applause to our guest caster, Soulkeeper, who got to do one champion select. Congratulations on your promotion. Fortunately, we're going to have to ask you to go back and we'll get Gator back in here after a quick break, where we will be on the Rift for Game 1 versus Shurikens versus Legionnaires.
was a lonely silhouette, needed somebody to show the way. Yeah, I was a heartbeat with no sound till you came around. Yeah, you showed me colors, light in the darkness. You were the only thing I needed. Then we got older, but we stayed the same. Swear that we never lost the flame. Nostalgia, you're an echo in my head. Oh, nostalgia, like a symphony of our memories. Oh, nostalgia, don't you ever slip away. Oh, nostalgia, like a symphony of our memories. Oh. Like a symphony of our memories. Oh, what if the years turn into gold? The longer we live, yeah, the more we grow. We could be 100 miles up.
Okay, welcome to the Rift for Game 1 of Shurikens versus NLE Legionnaires. I'd like to introduce my co-caster real quick, Black Gators, and hope that level 1 doesn't happen so we can actually talk. Welcome to the Cascaders.
Yeah, thank you for having me here, right? It's always a pleasure to be here, and I'm quite excited to see this game. And let's talk about what's actually happening in the draft, because there was some flex picks going on, and it's actually the Rumble going to be matching up in the top lane, and the Jace going into the Orianna. And I like that because now we have 2 winning solo lanes on the side of blue side, which enables your jungler to basically do whatever they want in the top side of the map, and you should always win 3v3, especially pre-level 6. So I like that adaptation, and I'm quite happy that they went for it, because from my perspective, what I'm seeing now for is you have kind of 3 lanes that can be proactive and then have control over the laning phase, and that enables your jungler to kind of do whatever.
It's a neat little trick picking 2 flex picks whenever they've obviously held one of their solo lanes for counterpick. They can't really counterpick both easily. I mean, there might have been one champion out there, but who knows if it's even in Fury's pool. Speaking of counter, there's a nice little cheese happening here potentially in bot lane. Looks like Bongo respects it though, so it'll just go back to normal, trying to push for level 2.
Yeah, and it's basically the bot lane matchup is like Alistar is not a champion level 1, right? You normally skill like W and just hope that nothing happens and you just knock people away. So most of the times what happens, you lose prio, and you can kind of see it on the minimap right now. Like all blue champions are like posturing up and getting the prio. And from the side of the jungle department, I like that we have like mismatch jungle, because you can potentially do something like do 3 camps into bot side invade, because you know you have the prio on bot lane. You see how Kane and Bongo have to kind of respect it. And this could be a plan, and we will see if Wukong decides and Septi decides
He's a little
to
slow, because he's only doing his 3rd camp now, and Vega's already all the way across the map. So it looks like it's just going to be normal jungle pathing, unfortunately for Septi. But, you know, that happens.
Yeah, that's just Wukong clear, right? Wukong,
Yeah.
like there was like when Divine Sandra was still a thing, right? You basically were not a champion until you got that item, and now that's kind of removed. You have different options. You can go Eclipse, Black Cleaver. Some people do like to go a bit more offensive, and like the lethality department. But I think like in competitive, usually goes stuff like Eclipse, Black Cleaver, and see what's going on. So far, we just see people
Liliana
laning.
Rome is kind of interesting because you feel like you said you had 3 winning waves, but it looks like Orianna respects it, and Viego is here. So I'm kind of curious how that's going to turn out. Leona's just kind of caught out. I don't think Dab wants to go in. Leona obviously will, but not be able to get out except with Flash. Hex doesn't have mana. Looks like that knock away. It doesn't matter though because Emery's flash is in. It does give the counter kill to Dab. Now Septi is finally here, and Hex doesn't really have mana for anything other than a Q. Will shield W just for speed. Now Septi will flash in, and I think that's 4 flashes. But during all that time, Kaisa was left alone. So I think it slightly favors Legionnaires, but quite a lot of stuff going down there.
I would say this is a very, very good trade for the side of Septi and Dap because they both use their flashes. Yes, this might sound bad, but the important part is that Oriana loses their flash. And you saw what could happen. And what I expect now to happen is you see this beautiful bot wave crashing, right? And you mentioned Kaiser's not doing anything. And that's what I mentioned about the prior in the early stages of the game. What I expect now in 2 to 3 waves, I expect Leona to be mid again. And then it's a quick, easy punish because the Oriana is so vulnerable inside of the laning phase, and if you can attack her, you will make her bleed, and that's what I want to see right now.
Yeah, so like right now, it's step 1. If they don't complete step 2, it's favored for Legionnaires, but they probably will complete step 2 and punish Hex for not having flash. You can already see Hex not having a fun time under tower. And top lane's fine being on an island because Rumble is doing great into this Gnar with how many minions alive, and he's still got a CS lead without even having taken that wave yet. So pretty good for Coffee Beans.
Yeah, and that's how I expect the matchup to go. And Rumble will just space around like magic pen boots, and then you will see how it's like really, really hurting. And this is the tricky part about this lane because this is where you have to TP. If you don't TP.
Okay, he's not. Oh, yeah, he's overheated, but he got the flash, so it's a solo kill. Meanwhile, mid lane, Dab is pretty low, but Leona's here again, and Leona might just solo kill Vex. It's really close. He does get it. It doesn't really matter if Boulder dies here. You killed the solo laner whenever the wave is up here. You're really happy with that. It does look like they'll actually just continue to go in. Boulder finally falls. I'm not sure if the reset really matters for Avigo, though, because now he's stuck as Leona in the middle of a mini wave. Can't even ult out. Luckily for them, Septi won't be able to go in because Fury teleports, but that kind of messes up top lane, too. Now, Alistair flashes in. Septi will go down. Dab, however, is pretty safe. And I think getting that teleport is still pretty good for Shurikens, considering they punished the mid lane and the top lane with that one play.
Yeah, definitely you can be very, very much happy, and it's exactly what we're talking about. And it happened, and they punished the Oriana, and the team reacted by saying, okay, we need to pull our Gnar here. And this is now starting to become really, really painful because the flash timer is still on. And we see top lane is like, this is why you shouldn't pick Gnar into Rumble. And you see it here because this matchup starts to get good once you have like the Merc threads, once you have the side of Hexdrinker possibly. But you do not want to go Hexdrinker because you basically forcing yourself into most of the time solo AP and just buying that for the, oh my god, it's painful to watch.
It's disgusting. Oh my, the ultimate's so good, and Fury's just gonna die with like 95 out of 100 of Fury Bar. I'm not even sure if Mega Gnar would have done anything, but maybe save his life. Unfortunately, he blows the flash and is not able to live at all.
Gives a little thumbs up. Coffee Beans walks out like a cool guy. This is going definitely into the direction that they want to have, especially with this draft. And you can kind of see how they draft the composition and how they're also managing to understand what their composition wants to do. And as I speak about that,
is pretty far behind the enemy bot lane, and they aren't really respecting it. They're clearing wards right now and acting like there isn't a vehicle here because they've got no idea. Now, Emery's, can he get a pick before flashes come out? Leona doesn't have one, so Boulder's going to go in on Jhin. Jhin doesn't really need mana, so pretty sure Boulder's going to go down. And Emery's is rewarded by that long flank by getting... Oh, someone get it. Okay. By getting a kill onto Boulder for Bongo, which helps because that was the only lane that was like not entirely in crisis. And now you get a nice little kill for Bongo, and hopefully Bongo can stabilize this game. You also got the dragon earlier because of that play that they made on Hex. So if there is an avenue towards winning this game, it's playing through your bot lane and getting dragons. And I think that's what NLE Legionnaires has to play for.
Yeah, and it's also like, if you're getting dragons, you're forcing basically Dragon Soul SOP, and it has been since the implementation, and even on pro level, teams have not understood that you can just always play for Soul, and then you force the enemy team to come into your department. And especially if you're thinking about the composition that we have on the blue team, Kaiser's probably going to go into the AP build, because what I'm seeing and realizing is now, okay, we have the classic double poke composition with engage, with a damage split on top as well. So basically how the composition functions is you want to be standing in front of Drakes and you want to fight on like these 2 item cores, when Kai'Sa and Jace have their 2 items. And what you want to do?
Setting up here.
Yeah, we don't get to talk about this.
But Furry has no rage at all, so he has to jump out. Not exactly the right direction to go. They're going to be able to easily pick this up. And only using Septi's Flash. Pretty happy with that.
Quick kill. Another kill into the department for the Rumble. Yes, they had to blow their Flash, but that doesn't really matter. You're getting the Rumble head, and you can see this matchup will only... Like, this is... You could be calling this is some form of bullying, I suppose. And
The worst part is
it's gonna get worse.
Right, Fury can be like, okay, fine, I've got a control mage. What I'll do, I'll send Orianna into you, and then I'll face your weak mid laner. But you look at the mid laner, and it's a 1-kill Jace. Like, there's no... Wait, actually, everyone knows that this could be happening. You can see Wukong walk away from it, but the bot lane thinks the tower's enough. I'm not sure that it is. Jhin ult is also overlaid on top beautifully. They can't quite get on the boulder. I don't know if they do want to go for the dive, but Oswald does flash. They don't really have cooldowns to go for anything more, so I believe that will be the end of this play, except for the siege of the tower. I don't foresee a re-dive, but it does look like a trade of a lot of cooldowns. But this is a lot of tempo for Legionnaires to commit down here as well. And what they got was a Kai'Sa and Leona flash.
Yeah, and definitely some good ideas here happening. However, there was like slight miscommunication where Kayn knocked the Leona out, and then Leona could just flash over the wall, which was kind of like an awkward scenario. But I like these ideas. Understand, this top lane matchup is just...
Is this the 2-2 you want? This is really interesting. There's no junglers in sight. Kayn does Boulder does interrupt Kayn's back, but now you're facing against this Jhin. The exhaust is good, and Kayn is going pretty low. However, Kai'Sa comes in, is going to get knocked up. Can't quite finish off the Kayn. Now, Bongo flashes in himself and gets a kill as well. This was a fight that Boulder initiated, and Boulder is kind of sad that he did so.
The Kai'Sa is flying into the knockup from the Alistar, and definitely do not want to play that 2v2 right now because you're so much item reliant, and you need to just knock the Jhin down. If you burst the Jhin, then you have a chance. But if you're going onto the Alistar, you will always lose that 2v2.
Okay,
so
Emrys is here, and the Wukong is really far behind. Now, Dab, can he live long enough for Septi to come in? The flash is good, but now Septi's just coming into a reset Viego. It's still going to try to take it, but Hex is right there. Hex does have ultimate as well. Septi should just be dead. And it's just an unfortunate case of trying to save your laner. Is Coffee Beats going to fall for the same mistake? I don't think so, because Emrys is now the one face checking into him with Boulder here as well. Now, Viego ult does mean he can get out, but not for long, because Rumble ult is showing where he is. The flash forward, flash out, but still, Coffee Beats is running pretty hard. Fury coming in finally. He's still into 2, and now they're teleporting as well. Meganar is good. Hex is here with ultimate. Kayn is also here. So maybe this is an overstep from Shurikens because they're going to get 1, and I think they get more. Dad really can't engage onto Hex with those tanks right on his face, and now Boulder has no tools to get out. Surely Hex can kite him in, even with the plus plant. QW is just good enough. And we go back to bot lane, but this Grubs are kind of an interesting objective because Viego's on the bot side, so I think Septi's just making sure they're not doing it. But overall, Legionnaires get an amazing group of fights right there.
Legionnaire is like super happy. Now gets a shutdown kill, I believe, if I'm rightly speaking. And it's so beautiful again because this is exactly what they needed to kind of get back into the game. And now you see the items coming onto the Viego. There's a Kraken Slayer already there. These are items that you can fight for. And they should be realizing, okay, we just need to get the first target, whoever that is, and then we play off Viego resets. And as I say that...
may be in misstep. Yes, the enemy jungler is on the Grubs as you kind of left them to do so, but it's not that hard of a collapse for the soul lanes. And now top lane, Fury is trying to build up... Oh, Dab does not want to go for it because of Magnar, I guess? Question mark ping comes out. I'm not sure if that's about just like, wait, I lived? But... Fury does live, and Emrys does not get any invade off, although it does call the enemy laners off for a little bit. Grubs, however, do go over to Shurikens, and I believe this dragon should be handshake agreement over for the second dragon for Legionnaires. Looks like Orianna's in a position to stop anyone from face checking it, so it will be 6 Grubs for the first 2 dragons.
And we get a Hextech soul, if I saw that correctly. Yes, we should be seeing the portals spawning in. And Hextech Soul is definitely the best soul that is currently in the game because the slows are so they're so awful. When you get hit by any spell, you get slowed. And also the singularity drags are very, very much important because you get attack speed and you get CDR. So these are stats that you want to have. And definitely...
Oh, another dive attempt potentially, or at least Fury's going to try to protect these. I'm not sure. I guess I just wanted to make sure that Fury knows that everyone is here. Now it is looking like a 3v3 with Jace on the way. Orianna not responding though, so I think Legionnaires is happy to back off because Miniwave isn't at the tower. They can just walk away. No harm, no foul. And it's just a 1v1.
And I think it's about the Herald right now. Like, we want to see how both teams are going to respond. And what I'm seeing from Legionnaires so far is that they are always looking to cross-map. They are not willing to fight because they're also realizing, okay, if we fight, we need to be sure that we are first on the map. We need to make sure that we have tempo advantage.
Okay.
And the enemy team is coming into us. Yeah.
Fury sees that Wukong is not on Herald right now. And if you see Emery's invade their jungle have no problems, and Wukong is not on Herald, where the hell is he? He's in your bush. I'm not sure if Fury's aware. Meanwhile, bot lane fight, I think that this Kai'Sa is able to ult out, but still in the shooting range, still going to go down. And on the other side of the play that I was trying to set up, Fury just walks away. So
yeah,
first tower will go down, but they
the first turret goes down, while it's traded for a turret and a bot lane. And the other thing is, you're not really getting the map plays that you want to have because now Legionnaires can like pop back and just open. Nah, this is going to be fine, right?
Fine. Oh, actually, maybe Dab is in trouble. Not quite dying. Okay, continue your thoughts. Sorry, the mid laners are scaring me, but they're fine.
But this is actually a huge problem because Dab has no TP, and this means that the Herald can be contested. And this is what I wanted to say, actually. Because they didn't start the Herald, this opens up Legionnaires to contest this Herald, which should have been free. And it seems up like they just came up to snatch it and grab it.
Yep, and yes, there's no Orianna ult, but there is no Jace at all. So they will absolutely get that for free.
And this should be just a back off, but
wait, so actually Hex might be overextended, is forced to flash out. Luckily, they are able to get the Bongo W on Coffee Bean, so there's no more damage. But that kind of is awkward, losing Orianna Flash. Definitely a very powerful tool.
Yeah, and it's going to... The most important thing is the 2 minutes and 15, so now like 12 seconds, the dragon's going to be spawned, so Orianna will not have flash for that. So that means you need to make sure that you are first on this objective. If you are not first on the objective, you starting to get poked out by Jace. Kai'Sa W's will not flying in. It seems to be AD Kai'Sa as well. And both situations, both build paths are valid here because you don't really worried about damage split. You have the Jace, you have the Wukong, that enough AD. But if you're saying, okay, I want more AP in the mix, which I think against the composition of Legionnaires very, very well because no one is actually able to tank the poke. It's like,
oh, Kai'Sa might be getting dove again. I think she's stunned. Should have an ultimate available. Not quite. It's actually on cooldown. So it's a very free kill. Very nice spotting that out. I'm not sure if they had the timer or they just thought they could kill through it. But that is another huge blow before Dragon. Should make it a lot easier. I mean, Kai'Sa could be late to Dragon setup, so it's not the worst. But you are losing so much lane prio beforehand. Septi not going to come in. Boulder decides to make it actually happen. Bongo is in a really awkward position if Septi can get on him, but he can't. Because Emery's is just stunning him up. And now the only target you have is Kayn. That might be enough because he only has ult. That's not really going to get him anywhere. Knocks someone into the tower, flashes out. Jan ult is also really good, so they have to stop the dive. Boulder might just die here. Has to dodge, but he's dodging into an Orianna. So they actually turn that play into favor for Legionnaires. Again, Dragon is up in 1 minute. Yes, it won't lead directly to a numbers advantage of Dragon, but they certainly have the push advantage. Although right now they might need to consider some resets, and they all decide to recall. So maybe you're right. Maybe actually Akuma, despite all that misplay mid, get Dragon set up, and this is where Akuma's team comp is really strong. Is right around the third Dragon with Rumble ult, with Jace poke, and with Kai'Sa having finished an item.
Yeah, it looks to me a bit bizarre because they're overbiting a little bit, and Septi is, I think
he's dead. He's got clone out, sure. He can flash out, but now you've got no Wukong ult, no flash. So even though he's not dead, he's in effect dead for this Dragon fight. I'm not expecting that Wukong to do anything here, and if Wukong can't do anything, can Shurikens really do anything for this Dragon fight?
And I think as Shurikens, just have to give this Dragon over. Because Wukong is not going to be able to do something here. And the only way how you can do something is if you just manage to like instantly kill the Orianna and then
watch the Rumble, maybe? Perchance?
I don't think you should be here. Like, just give it up and then accept, okay, we made a mistake. We don't want to give
they
Mortis more.
disagree. Rumble trying to steal it, does not get it, and now Oriana will just eviscerating everyone who's in it. Septi is finally here, but has no ultimate. Emery's is looking for a reset, maybe a little too aggressive, so he will go down, but for that, he will get the rest of the team on the Septim backline, or Shurikens backline, and Coffee Beans will barely live, not getting W there. However, just looking at the scoreboard, NLE just got 2 kills, a dragon, and they only lost their jungler for it.
And Legionnaires, they didn't look so well coordinated when it came to the laning phase, but they definitely understood, okay, this is how we want to play the map. They're punishing the tempo mistakes of the enemy team, and they're not only punishing them, they're understanding, okay, this is what we can do based off what the enemy does. And I like to see that, and I have to compliment them, especially Ambries, for understanding, okay, this is where I have to be on the map as a jungler, and this is what I have to initiate, and we just get kills and kills and kills.
The moment that sticks out to my mind in this game is where the top 2 lanes were losing, bot lane was even, and Emery's just spends infinite tempo going behind the dragon wall to gank bot lane, and you just see Darkwall, Lord Oswald, and AFK Boulder being like, we got wards, we're fine. We're gonna go even more aggressive, and suddenly Emery shows up and wins 1 lane for the team, and now this gen is 3-0. They've got 3 dragons, and it wasn't all off one play, but that one play sure did help.
Yeah, and for the side of Legionnaires, you can be relaxing right now, but as I say that, they try to fight again.
Relaxing. They're going for Coffee Beans, who doesn't have any ability to use abilities right now. Now the ultimate will be able to come out. I don't even know if he used it, though. Zanya's will come out, which is that just that hourglass. They are trying to delay, but he can't even get the ultimate out afterwards. The teleport does get used, so maybe something is a benefit, but now Septi's rooted into the Oriole, into the Gentle. There's just no escape for anyone. Septi gives his life to try to get Boulder to escape, but that's not going to happen either. There's just no way out. Kaisa and Jace do get the mid tower, which is an objective bounty, but they're going to lose so much in the top lane. Perhaps even the Baron, while Herald just charges. It's very rare to see Herald charging while Baron's being started, but I think that's what we're going to see today.
Yeah, it looks like this game is pretty much the nail in the coffin. Legionnaires should be at Nash now, and then this Nash should be inspiring into the Soul Dragon, and especially the 4th Dragon, which is spawning in 2 minutes and 37 seconds. So very, very good pickup of them, and instantly rotating, understand, okay, we have the mid prio, so we rotate. And this is kind of what you have to understand when you play against Viego. You need to let people die, right? It really sounds bad, right? If you're not into League of Legends terms, these words sound horrible, and they are horrible. But in League of Legends, if you play against Viego, just let people die, because if you do not, you see what happens.
Yeah, I think that's the second play in a row, not in a row, sorry. That's the second play, because I remember that play mid lane, where mid laner dies, jungler's like, I can help, jungler could not help, support could not help, and they just came so many deaths, and like,
it's kind of like chain hitting.
Right. And Emery's did make that play that got back into the game. That other play was a play where, honestly, Akuma kind of let them back into the game, opened up the door, just by continuing to try to say, we have more gold, we can't lose this fight, but they absolutely could. Now they don't have more gold, and yet they're still trying to save the top laner. Doesn't quite work out for them.
Yeah, and I have to compliment Emery's again, because, like, Emery's is basically a solo laner right now. And like, look at the level department. Coffee Beans level 13. Emery's is level 13. Right? You see how strong, like, 2 items almost on the way on the 3rd item, and it's not gonna get easier for the side of Coffee Beans and his team. And it's so hard to make plays right now, because the only way how you can make plays is by just hoping that you stick the Jace poke, which is kind of hard to do, because you need to defend the minion wave and then hit the enemy team, which is, then it's a positioning issue. But what we're going to see in 55 seconds, the Soul's going to be spawning.
They just flanked Boulder's in the wrong spot, unfortunately. Yes, you want to get vision before Soul spawns, but not at the cost of your life. I mean, I get the inclination. I've definitely been there as support, but it's so hard to see them contesting the Soul. Now, Baron is still going to be on them, and now they just don't have their support in time. Yes, I mean, Leona will be there, don't get me wrong. Hextech Soul is pretty nice for getting your support there, but the wards are not going to be there.
Yeah, I think the only play that you have as Boulder there is just make sure that you're trying to kill the Gnar Fury. If you're not doing this, then you don't have a play, because you have basically playing against a 3-lane setup, a Nash buff, which is hard to contest at 20
General's
minutes.
committed here. They actually do get Septi through the clone, which is kind of nice. I'm not sure if that was on vision or you just assumed that W happened there. But that's Gen ult down, so that's one feeling in favor of Shurikens. I don't think it's going to be enough, but they got to damn well try. I don't think you give up solo to this team at this point. So we'll have to see the desperation fight here. Now, this is a nice pit for Rumble Wukong ult, so watch Septi, watch Leona, watch Coffee Beans. But that dragon's already half health. Now, Bongo, in a really awkward position. Leona's going to look, does not hit the E. And now it's just Ulster and Gnar on everyone. Rumble ult is amazing! Wukong ult is amazing! But the gold deficit is just too much, I think. Bongo will still be alive hitting a lot of people. Maybe it's not actually because Coffee Beans is on Bongo. I think they should get everyone here. Only Kane is able to escape, and a fight that we were setting up to be an easy fight for Legionnaires suddenly goes into favor of Akuma Shurikens just because of the strength of their team comp that we mentioned earlier. It doesn't even matter with the 4K deficit and 3 dragon deficit, I guess.
And you have to criticize here how the execution was. Orianna was still on board, and they were always taking control, and they should not have started the dragon, because what you want is you want the enemy team come into you when you know, okay, this is the break point where we can engage. And unfortunately, Viego Amicus got one shot, and this is kind of the problem with the team composition. Jhin is not built to deal damage, because like currently what a lot of Jhin players do, Shiv into rapid fire cannon into IE, and that's a low damage build, right? You're not really doing damage. Yeah. In your solo games, you see like collector IE Jhins, right? This is some banging Jhin. I like to see this as well, but in competitive, it's more of the utility side. Definitely, this is a good pickup. Funny. Yeah, go ahead.
Because I was saying, I saw Bongo alive, and there were like low health members on Akuma Shurikens. Like, surely they use all their stuff. Bongo's still alive, it'll be fine. But Bongo's Jhin, so it was just auto attack, reload, auto attack, wait, auto attack, dead. It's just not what you normally see from AD carries this far ahead because it's Jhin. And now he's caught again. Kaisa could ult in, does so away from the Alistar this time, learned from last time, but has to flash it because of it. Will just get the auto attack while Bongo tries to go out, and now Kane's in trouble, should die as well, and suddenly Shurikens have made this game look not even close, the opposite way.
Definitely some...
As Kane goes down here.
Yeah, that's Kane will go down. And I like that you're giving over the shutdown to the Jace, definitely good. Kaiser already has 2 items, you want to spread out the gold as much as possible. Well, in the meantime, it's a juicy 700 gold for Professor Hax, so this is net going unpunished. And this is kind of the reality that you're going for Shurikens. You always have to trade something. And I like that they're willing to do this trade.
Yeah, it's still good. It's just not as good as you, like, we get it, like, solo queue maybe. Meanwhile, the teleport coming in, they're trying to potentially dive, but the teleport from Hex does defuse it. However, this means Hex will not have teleport for Baron. It might not matter because they want to fight now. It looks like it's just going to be wave clear. But again, Orianna does not have teleport for Baron now.
And this will be the Nash that probably will decide who will be able to close out this game. Is it either going Shuriken to get another breather of life, or is it going to be Legion where you just say, okay, this is the final nail in the coffin. This time we're gonna set up the dragon correctly afterwards, and you can see them, right? It seems like on the side of Shurikens, I'm not sure if they're wanting to give this, but Jace has no teleport, and for me, it's hard to understand if you are able to contest, because I think you should just push out lanes and make sure that you're getting something, but Jace is on the move.
Okay, but the one ult is still good. Orianna ult's going to be used only on little Coffee Beans. It might be okay. The Zanyas goes down, however. They don't have Jace, but it looks like it might matter a lot. Jhin is channeling, is barely living. Emrys is getting so many resets. Yeah, you just don't have Jace. Jace finally is here. I don't think he wants to fight, though. Maybe he can pick off Bongo, who is pretty low, but Kane is literally body blocking for his AD carry. So I just don't see how this Baron doesn't go down. And yeah, it looked like Jace just misread his Baron timer. Getting the bot tower is nice. I don't know if they just thought they were super behind and that the last 2 fights were a fluke, but they just don't want to fight, I guess. But yet they go in anyways without Jace.
Yeah, you have to make a conscious decision here. Either you give the Nash and say, okay, we're just gonna push out mid and bot, and we get like 3 turrets for that.
Stunned. That's a lot of damage. The W misses because he flashes, but now Emrys is on the backline of other people. A reset means the Emrys will not go down. You just get 2 more kills while you have Baron. And again, just because you won the last fight at Dragon, you got your Dragon for yourself, it's still soul spawning in 1 minute.
Yeah, and that soul should definitely go over. Like, if this Drake is not going to the side of enemies, then I'm kind of frustrated, and it should not happening because right now you have the perfect time. Like Dap is dead for 22 seconds. Darklord's also dead for 19 seconds. It's basically a synchronized timer. Yeah, and you can just play out the waves, right? Oriana should be accepting this wave and now sprint towards the Drake because you need to make sure that you're in time, because this is exactly what cost them the Drake last time. Do not play this wave, because if you're playing this wave, it means you have to delay the timer. And you can see this is decisions where you can see, okay, do players understand how the map functions on a fundamental level, and are they clean with it? And this is something that they could be working on in the review.
Looks like we are going to get a clean 5v5, a little bit of a vision deficit for Akuma Shurikens, but Hex did give them time, and they're not going to start the dragon. But I'm not sure entirely how this fight starts. It looks like it starts with just Dab getting some nice poke off. Oswald too. Yes, there's no EP on the Kaisa. W still kind of hurts. And then you overlay it with the Jace QEs. Keep on watching those. And Dragon just hasn't been started, so, you know, damage on Kayn is not consequential. Looks like they finally will start the Dragon.
Yeah, I think they want to wait for the Mega. And now the Mega now has arrived, and I think that's a turning point. But Septi is looking to steal this dragon.
It looks like Jen gets it, so it will be Soul. And now the fight starts. Jen is just ulting with no end in sight. Yes, Rumble ult makes Emery's go low. Emery doesn't really care if he gets a reset, but no one has fallen yet. Hex is the first to fall, actually. Now the bot lane will fall. It looks like Shurikens have breathed their last gasp, unless somehow this Rumble can do a miracle. It doesn't look like it, because now the CC is here. Emery's is continuing to reset. And that will be an ace, only losing the solo lanes for Legionnaires. They got the soul, and I have to imagine they can either push this to the end of the game, or at the very least, they should just shut out Akuma from ever coming back into this game.
And this should be at least one inhib on the bot side and the middle inhib as well. They cannot finish this because the respawn timers are so low, but definitely good pickup. Get the bot lane inhib, and I think they're trying to get the mid inhib as well. I'm not sure if there's enough time.
Oh wait, they're actually looking for the end for the Emery's. Now, Emery's does a lot of damage to these towers. Is tanking while stunned, however, and now you're kind of engaging a fight where the spawns are coming up. It looks like they are able to run away from Boulder because Boulder did use the E, and they use the teleport to make sure that nothing else happens. But maybe Hex will get caught back in the end. Doesn't matter, because Leona not able to get in range of the ultimate in time. But interesting, they do get a Nexus Tower, but they have to use Hex's teleport for it. I mean, again, Baron's not on the map. They got Soul. I think it's fine. Really interesting play. I do like how they had Kayn literally just be a Baron buff for mid lane, but you don't do that if you're going for the end of the game, so I'm not sure entirely what the decision was there, or if there was just some multiple decisions of different varieties. Meanwhile, Hex here caught out a little bit. I don't think there's a chance that Hex can live here. Will ultimate for Coffee Beans. The burst is good, but only if there's follow-up, because Coffee Beans is still going to live at the end of it, and there's no one looking to shoot him afterwards.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you that the best decision would have been to just take bot inhib and then take mid inhib, because that sets you up with two pushing lanes where you can just sit on top and say, okay, we don't need to do anything. We just need to wait for the waves to crash, and when the wave crash, we are stepping up and making the enemy do an active decision. If you have two open inhibs and like two inhibs are down, then you just go to the other lane and you just wait, right? From that point on, the game should be always in your hand. There's no way how you can lose a game with two inhibs unless you are not thinking straight. And I hope that this is exactly what I kind of realized. Say, okay, we just group. I would like to have the Fury on the mid lane to just keep pushing and then coming from the flank, because as Gnar, obviously, if you have Mega and you're coming from flank, it's making your champion function a little bit better because you're setting yourself up against those walls.
Wait, they're in a huge flank against this Rumble. Rumble will come out with Leona now, flashes out from Bongo, but there's so many people just taking a lot of damage. Kaisa is so late, Hex does not have teleport in his late. Gen ult, however, will delay the fight so much, and the only one taking damage right now is Kayn. Finally, some other tanks are taking damage, but Septi's going to take way more because of the soul.
Oriana's flanking.
Behind! Hex just comes in as an assassin with a ball and gets multiple in her ultimate. Emery's is going to finish off the last person. Exhaust will not... Oh, wait. Exhaust will not... Okay, well, Flash 2, I guess. This is,
Oh.
Okay, so I'm just going for the drama. Flash, Exhaust, and Ultimate will not save you. This should be the inhibitor. There's a bot wave 2. It should be more. No one is alive. I mean, Leona's coming up way after the Nexus dies. So I believe NLE will finally close out this game 1-0. They were looking a little rough in the early game. Made the mid game very, very strong in their favor. And then the late game maybe could use a little work. But at the end of the day, you get the Nexus explode. So...
Yeah, definitely congratulations to them for this beautiful pickup. And as you mentioned, right, the criticism that I would have to them is, okay, your early game looked a bit shaky, but that was because of the draft. Well, your mid game was very good. And then when it came to like 20, 21 minutes around that and saying how we close out games, that wasn't the cleanest. So definitely something that they can look forward to improve on. And if they do that, I think this is going to be a 2-0.
Yeah, but I think it kind of says the Shurikens that they've got to change the draft setup a little bit. If you draft an early game comp like that and you kind of mess up a little bit in the mid game and let the enemy team get it in, but they throw so much in the late game, why not just draft a late game team for yourself, see how you can do in the pressure of the early game, and if the enemy team can't close it out like that once again, maybe your scaling will just get you the game win.
And also, if you just build AP on Kaiser, the game is totally different, because then you're not putting yourself in a situation where you have just kind of Jace in the comp. If you're just poking with Jace and Kaiser, and then suddenly the Rumble comes in and everyone is low, then it's very, very clear, right? You don't need to really understand much. You see, okay, people are low. Now we're going in with Wukong and Loner. So on paper, the draft was really good. The understanding of the draft, not so much.
I mean, the first, like, 10 minutes, they understood the draft really well. They had it downloaded perfectly, right? Get the lanes under pressure as much as possible. Get Orianna's flash, then destroy her. They absolutely did that. But the bot lane wasn't on the same page with, okay, our other lanes are winning. Right now, you guys are the weak point. They didn't care. They said, right at the tower. You know, Emrys isn't coming here. Don't be silly. Emrys did come there, destroy them, and suddenly Bongo was a real problem that lasted for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and that's something that you have to understand, okay? Which parts of the map should be winning, right? You picked Leona and Kaiser into Jhin, Alistar. This is kind of dead lane. Nothing should be happening. Should be just trading waves here and there, right? Unless jungler comes. And if you understand, okay, my Rumble is like literally destroying the enemy top laner and making them cry, I don't need to do anything. I just need to wait until my Rumble is like pushing top and moving into the segment of the map where I can have influence. And I will just let, it's also a skill to let people take over the game, right? And especially, like, I don't want to be that person, but in like ADCs is a special department where and understand it. If you're playing this game for a longer time, you have been in those matters where literally you were kind of the dog keeper, right? You had 4 dogs on a leash and you were like, okay, no, we touching this ball. No, I'm throwing the ball there and you give me this ball and then I want this and this and this. And kind of to get out of that mindset might be sometimes hard. This is the reality that we are living. And I think it's beautiful that League of Legends has evolved to that point where there's so much diversity in terms of draft compositions. Yes, we see like kind of 70 champions rotated over and over if it comes to pro play. I think it's still better than, you know, which 2 ADCs you're going to take. You know which tanks you're going to see in the jungle. You know which tanks you're going to see in top. And so therefore, I'm quite happy with how the game is currently being played.
Well, I do have a small update. Akuma Shurikens have elected to take the red side, which means they're taking the more reactive side of the draft. I really like it because they won't be put in this. I mean, they'll get more counter matchups, and you saw how the more that they were able to get matchups that were good for them, the more the lanes were just completely in their favor. Red side gives them the opportunity to do that guaranteed. So I do think that it's a good selection, but I'm curious to see if they could take the lessons from the first game and perhaps draft a comp that has more staying power, or just holds their hands a little bit more in the mid game where you could just absolutely get every dragon, regardless of, you know, a slight misstep mid lane or two.
Yeah, I think it's just like red side, obviously, you get like, you should be getting 2 counter picks. You should be always be deciding if you get good solo lanes or you get a good bot lane matchup. and you have the option of doing so. And you also have the option of saying, okay, we want to give one power pick open, and we want to get two for that. So there's trade scenarios happening, and I'm just curious what the drafts will look like, because I would say for both teams, the drafts were okay, right? It's just understanding, okay, what do we actually need to do to get us over that finishing line? And I hope to see that in the next game as well. And I hope to see very, very good, entertaining league as we saw in this game.
Well, I will just say, if you have a 4K gold lead and you have forced the enemy team to play around the dragon, and you've got Rumble and Jason, you cannot win that game. Perhaps it is time to put those champions on the back burner, regardless of how good you are in the solo lanes, because that is like their identity, right? Pushing their solo lane advantages towards that dragon pit. And unfortunately, they were not able to leverage those champions in the way that you usually see them happen. So maybe just put them on the shelf for a little bit until you get some macro back.
I disagree. I think
Yeah,
you should
fair enough.
still pick the Rumble. I think the Rumble looked so good, and
Mhm.
I think you should still pick it. If it comes to a decent matchup, you can decide where. But I don't think it will be available. I think it will be banned. Because
Respectable, yeah.
because now it's like you're on blue side and you're picking into that Rumble, and you have to show what you're picking, and then you have to kind of find a matchup that is already good, which is there are some matchups that you can pick into Rumble, but you're still losing in laning phase. And what you need is you need the support from your jungler on wave 4, 5, 6 to kind of help you push out. And once you don't get that, the lane is going to still look like that, right? And when Rumble was like, there was this big change with Rumble where he currently has like 150. Before that, he was able to only have 100, right? And once that change happened, people were like, yeah, this is not going to affect them. But then people realized, oh, this champ is so broken right now. And then people started picking Aatrox into this, started trying to go for Jace or something like this. And all that you realize is like, all of these matchups are so bad in lane, and you just need your jungler to stabilize this lane. If you have your jungler do this, then you can get into this laning matchup. Well, Rumble is still one of the strongest lanes in top lane. And I think pick the Rumble, maybe change your jungle pick. I would say you have those solo laners that perform really, really well. Get something that can facilitate. Maybe get a Sejuani. Maybe get like a Maokai, right? I'm fine with having like Rumble and Jace on the same team again if it's like with the Sejuani, because then you have double melee solo laners, right? This is kind of like how Sejuani was always picked. People have been going away from that because you can also match it with the melee support already, and that gets the passive procs. So get something that set up your team more, because then you have two forms to engage with your support and your jungle, and that helps kind of stabilize the game as well.
Yeah, definitely I could see the jungle changing that matchup entirely. And I'm kind of curious if they decide to use their advantages in different ways too. Usually whenever you've got the lead, you want to, choose an objective they go for it. Grubs did not work out for them. Perhaps next time if they decide, hey, we've got 2 winning lanes, if our bot lane plays a little bit safer, we go for Dragon. And then you don't have to fight Legionnaires so quickly at the Dragon Pit, or at least if you do, it's not do or die, because it's Soul.
Yeah, for sure, right? And Soul is definitely we're kind of unlucky with the Soul, right? With the Soul role that they play against Hextech Soul. And this is kind of the name of the game. It always has been there, and it's like, to me, it's still, even when I like talk to like challenger players and challenger teams, it's like so mind blowing that some people are not like realizing, okay, we can force this every game. This is a mechanic that happens every game. And when you do that, you force the enemy team to come into you, because if they don't come to you, you get the soul. And if they say, okay, maybe that's fine, then the Elder Dragon is still coming up afterwards. And the latest, if you are able to set up good and if you train those setups very, very well, then you're forcing the enemy team to always come at a certain timer into you, and then you are just better at that situations because you have been practicing to play out these situations.
So let's see if NLE takes your advice and bans that Rumble. I do really like it. The Poppy ban so far. Now, you didn't get to see bans, perhaps, because you were a little delayed, taken over by Soulkeeper, if you will. But so far, we've got the same bans. Let me just make sure. Yeah, so other than that, yeah, basically the same 4 bans so far. Entirely same 6, actually.
Yeah, it's Poppy Zyra on the one side, and it's Anivia, Xerath, and Diviego. Might be a good pickup because they realize, okay, this changes how they play because there's no champion that can overtake games so quickly when you just lose one fight. So I like the draft adaptation that Diviego's being banned right now. And now it's kind of the question what will be happening in the first department if they're going
This is
stuff
such
like
an interesting first pick. Bongo obviously was very comfortable having a hyper carry in Jin. Jinx just makes it so much more easier, you know. You could see some type fights where Bongo was a little bit struggling despite being the last one alive with full health. Jinx will not have that issue if he is 3-0 like he was last game.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like the Viego on ADCs. You play for resets and then you just steamroll over. And there's certain things that Jinx wants. Jinx compositions, you want people to have displacement. You want people to have burst so you can get those reset and you want to have like frontline. Because whenever you get those bursts and your displacement of in terms of CC form from one enemy, you just kill that enemy, and then by Jinx passive, you will just take over the fights. You want to get excited, and that's what they do. And on the other side, what we see is Ashe and Lilia is definitely a strong pairing, and Ashe is probably one of the most meta picks if you talk on the ADC, and Lilia is just a fine juggler.
Whoa, is that real? Okay, so I was like, oh, Seraphine, we could talk about this in a second. We got a Kha'Zix. I'm going to kind of skip over the Lilia pick for a second. I mean, I guess it's kind of because of the Lilia pick, but that is a Kha'Zix. I think, let me read the patch notes real quick, because I'm sure that I was told Assassins were in it. I think Kha'Zix might have been one of them. But that is a very bold pick, even with the enemy jungler showing.
I think Kha'Zix into Lilia is definitely a matchup where you have to at least abuse the Lilia early, because if the Lilia is able to full clear, she will just outpace you. And that's a matchup that I like to play that side. I like to play the Lilia side. I'm a jungle myself. And when I do this in UVS like DR1, it's like you need to be invaded on the constant level to be able to get something, because if you get level 6 before the Kha'Zix level 6, then you can just steamroll over him because there's the threat of the invisibility is not just there. So that's definitely good. The Seraphine is still being locked in, and the question to me is this a mid lane Seraphine or is this a bot lane Seraphine? If it's in this specific case, you could send it into bot lane because Braum was revealed, and Braum is typically weak against enchanters because they outrange him, and you cannot do
Especially
so
with
much
the
against that.
Ashe. Yeah,
Yeah,
and especially, yeah, exactly. Because like Ashe is not a hyper carry, which is nice because you saw how Bongo getting the lead against the enemy AD carry whenever it's Kaisa kind of sucked. But if it's Ashe, maybe it's not that big a deal. A lot easier for you to tell your AD carry to play safe whenever they're playing Ashe. Whenever they're playing Kaisa, it's like, no, I gotta get gold. What are you talking about? But maybe Oswald can cool it down a little bit with Ashe because that R button doesn't care how much gold you have. And now we see some more solo lane bans. It looks like Shurikens does believe that is a Seraphine bot lane. I agree with you. Makes a lot more sense to put it bot lane once they show the Braum. And just 2 mid lane bans. It looks like Shurikens, I think with those 2 bans that are safe, blind perhaps, they're gonna pick their top laner here.
there's the Rumble and there's the Malphite ban, right? We talked about the Rumble is definitely dangerous. Where I would say if this is a Seraphine support, right, you don't fear as much the Rumble because you have some form of healing and shielding to prevent the Rumble damage going through, and then you can just build redemption and make sure that's not going to happen. But I definitely understand the favor of like I need to blind pick, and this is going to be a Lucian into the mid lane. It's blind pick, but when I think about that, they are not the matchups that you've kind of fearing. They're not really there. Syndra is out, Oriana's out. These are kind of the laning matchups that you don't want to play against. Then there's the Akali that you're gonna go. But if the enemy team is now, if Legion
Akali is crazy in this comp. I don't think it's gonna happen for Legionnaires.
Yeah, I also think that because it's you have the Seraphine on bot, and this seems to be definitely confirming that Seraphine is the bot. And what I don't like right now is that Legionnaires have drafted themselves a composition which they need they need Ornn on top. They need something like beefy frontline that can also engage, because they putting themselves in a situation where they have to be first, and the enemy team has to kind of walk into them, which I don't think is that easy to do with their currently lane setup. So Cassandra's being locked in, and yeah, Cassandra, we have all seen the clips what this champion can do, and especially if you look at against the enemy team, you have two squishy ADCs who will not be able to one tap you. So for the side of Legionnaires, I think they just went to comfort and said, "Hey, we need to change things up." And for the side of Shurikens, we will see how their draft unfolds. They currently need a top laner, unless this is some old throwback to Lucian, but it seems to be Aurora lock-in, and this matchup is very, very good for the side of Aurora side of things. So for the side of Shurikens, it seems to be I would favor the draft, especially if it comes to their solo lanes. And like you need to understand when you're playing with Lilia wants prior lanes. And the same thing, the reason why you pick Kha'Zix is you want prior lanes and you want to invade your enemy jungler wherever you feel like you do. But this is not going to be happening because of top lane matchup and because of mid lane matchup. So the only real place where you can invade is bot lane. And if Lilia is smart, she just starts on bot lane and paths into top and avoids you completely.
Yeah, and we will see because Shurikens once again has strong lanes, and I think they have a better chance to convert this into really nice late game than they did with last draft, especially with the enemy draft. It's a lot easier to make sure that a Kha'Zix is shut down than a Viego. You know, sometimes Viego gets some nice resets. It's not only he's your best champion. Kha'Zix, he kind of has to jump in. And it's pretty hard to do that into Braum Aurora.
Yes.
So
yeah, especially into Braum, you jump in and it's a one-way ticket, right? So it's super hard to execute that Kha'Zix, and that's why I said, hey, you need to make sure that you're destroying the Lilia in the early stages of the game, and you need to get the benefit already there, because your team fighting is not going to be really easy against a Braum. And you also don't have the setup of someone is going in for you and saying, okay, I'm just seeing that person. You're basically playing on Seraphine E, like the double E, and you're playing off Jinx traps. So it's definitely going to be a little bit rough in the CC department. So I hope that Legionnaires understand, we need to make sure that this Lilia is going to be very, very much punished in the early stage of the game, where I could see how you should have bot prior. Make sure that you try to invade, that you get early some information on where Lilia is wanting to start, and even maybe you can even look for like a map split where you can just invade the bot side and trying to get something there, and hope that you're getting a lead through that.
Yeah, but if you don't get that lead early, you are looking really rough for Emery's. Emery's had that really nice play on Viego, which is available to Viego. Getting that bot lane gank off, I don't think it's going to be as available this game unless Emery's can really pull a rabbit out of the hat. And these champions are a lot. I mean, I guess the Rumble's pretty good late game as well, but you're saying, oh, we got rid of the Rumble, everything's fine, and then they pull out the Aurora. Everything is not fine. There are going to be a lot of riots in chat or whatever, you know.
I also like that you said kind of like rabbit, because technically, like, doesn't Aurora has like rabbit ears? Isn't she like some like pseudo rat or something? Not rat, but rabbit. Sorry, like a rat and a rabbit are two different animals. Like, okay, I understand this, and I just think yes, you can laugh about it. It's fine.
Either way,
I would
predictions
say,
are live. Yeah, go ahead and tell the people what you think they should predict.
Yeah, if you want to like look at the draft and just exclude names, I would say the Shuriken sides, Akuma Shurikens, have their way up. This is what I would say. On the bot lane matchup is dependent. If Jinx doesn't take cleanse, this can go very, very fast, very, very wrong. And so if you get one time CC'd in the early stages of the game, Bongo, you're gonna have a hard time. And you just make sure that you allowing yourself to understand what the map is wanting from you, and you will be fine.
Well, we will find out if they are fine. After a quick delay, we will be back on the Rift for Game 2. Shurikens are down 0-1. It's potentially possible for NLE to make an upset, which would be big for their playoff potential. We'll see you after a quick break. welcome to game 2 of NLE versus Akuma. It looks like NLE are on the verge of making an upset happen if they can pick up one of the next 2 games. However, it looks like the fan base is not so sure they can do that. I was looking at the prediction. Only one person believes in NLE, and it's not by very much. It seems like a points night more than anything. So maybe NLE can prove everyone wrong. But yeah, let's draft. You are not alone, apparently, Gator, in believing that is absolutely their favor. A little bit of poke.
We see definitely that they are looking to find out what's happening. A few wars going down already, and this should give the information where Kha'Zix is going to start, because as we already mentioned, it's going to be very much important to spot where the Kha'Zix is going. And yeah, Kha'Zix already anticipated that, and it's a good thing that you give over the experience, because that means Ziggs will have their level 2 from the first wave, and that can potentially swing how the matchup is going. And that definitely showing understanding how to play this matchup more important.
Yeah, because level 2 for Ziggs against Lucian. I mean, Lucian can barely fight for the wave now, because if he overcommits too much, it doesn't even matter about level 2. It looks like Dab is just dead, potentially. Hex has flash, is gonna look for it. Doesn't even flash for Dab, just gonna get first blood. And I guess that ward giving over, I'm not sure if the mental pressure got to Dab, or if it just didn't matter, because Hex got all the Qs off and gets first blood.
Yeah, Hex definitely landing all those Qs, and this build's first blood for Hex is solo kill, and that is super important because now Hex can just crash this wave and base, and we see that there's some Kha'Zix lingering inside the jungle of Lilia, and yeah, it's already.
But the smite comes over from Septi, so it in effect is not that important. Right now, Kha'Zix has 1 camp, so yes, Emery's made the right play on paper, but if your fingers can't catch up, it doesn't really matter. Lilia is laughing all the way to bot side camps, while Emery's is returning to either, 2 camps on top side or a gank that doesn't look very possible. I'm not sure if Emery's is... Oh, here we go. Meanwhile, bot lane fight's going pretty heavily onto Bongo. It's not going to turn anything real. Top side is what we're really looking at. Aurora trying to jump away, has some damage over time, flashes into the bush, and I think Emery's is just completely out of the game if this does not go well. They have flash. Flash comes over from Fury, and I don't think it turns into anything, and now you've wasted not only Emery's tempo, but also Fury's flash.
Insult to injury, like you lose the red buff and then you do the walk of shame where you have to walk back to your own jungle, and sometimes it's better to just enjoy the walk of shame than rather to forcing something else. And now you see Emery has 5 CS, Lilia is now in...
This is a recall, by the way, from Emery's. I think Emery's is trying to save his bot camps, unaware that Septi had already run in, ignoring his own bot camps, so he can come to some golems, but that's all he's gonna see.
Yeah, and this is kind of like a hard start already for Emery's after this beautiful performance on the Viego, where you basically are getting out, like, just facts. You're getting out jungle right now. You don't have anything to do because you now know that your first camp that have higher level on the respawn should be the blue buff. So this is the problem when you're doing like blue into red.
Oh,
you are setting
yourself.
Walk
out a ward for a gank that just surely will not work out. Complete zenning right now. 9 to 28 CS. Gonna try to force the gank bot lane, or at least get the push in. Maybe you're saying, you know what? I'm gonna be useless all game. At least get this bot wave in. That's all I could do right now.
Yeah, the only thing that you could try to do is deading the blue, but we have this oversight, right? We know that the blue is not being taken. Emis does not have that information. And the only thing that now is happening, you walk back to your top side, you clear, those are level 1 camps. And what we will see happening is if Lilia now bases, takes her bot side, and then takes the 2 response camp, she will be level 5 when Emery's will be level 3. She will be close to level 6 when Kha'Zix will be just dinging 4. So this is definitely something that is very, very painful. And as we said in the draft already, this Kha'Zix needs to make sure that the Lilia is being pushed out of the game, and currently it's the opposite.
Yeah, and even bot lane, I mean, there's no ganks that really happened here. Kha'Zix kind of showed up for a few seconds. That's a huge CS deficit for isolation laning. Meanwhile, Dab, the only weak side for Akuma, is going to get jumped on. Still has Flash, so it's completely safe. And yes, this Lucian will also potentially be a non-factor. I mean, he's still in there. But nothing really sticks out to me on this map except for the level 4 Kha'Zix to level 5 Lilia looking to get level 6 soon. Oh wait, actually, maybe this fight, because Braum is here, Dab has decided to go forward, but this might be his death now, has to flash out. Kha'Zix is here, is gonna flash in, still not enough damage! He has boots! And it's just not enough to finish off Dab. Now it does get Dab's flash at least, and I guess Kha'Zix can't really do anything else on the map, but man, that hurts.
Yeah, and I have to criticize Dap here for not understanding what his job is right now. The job of him is like just play the laning phase out and allow Lilia to take over the game, because what you wanted as Lilia is you wanted that respawn Raptor camp. If you are able to deny this respawn Raptor camps, you are so far ahead. And it ends up being just a flash of trades for Embries and Dap, and Zepti will be able to get those scrubs rightfully deserved, but it looks like we're seeing a trade from Embries. Will definitely understand, okay, yo, we're taking those scrubs. You gotta make sure that we're getting the Drake.
Yeah, because the lanes over there are totally in priority, and Kha'Zix, there's one thing he can do, even with boots, even level 4 to level 6, it's Take Dragon. That isolate damage is pretty good. Now, there's no blue buff to steal from Septi. I mean, Dragon's taking forever, unfortunately. It is just boots Kha'Zix. So this will accelerate Septi even more with the experience gain that you get from the grubs, and also stealing the only level 2 camp on the map for Kha'Zix. I mean, there's some bot camps as well, but oh man.
Yeah, those camps are already also the respawn camps, and it's definitely good that Kha'Zix gets those. But as we're speaking,
moment, but there's a Dab here, and now there's a Zora moment. Flash out. Where are you flashing to, though? There's no escape. Dab surely can get on you. He doesn't even have to hurry. There are people coming, but Coffee Beans isn't a mana. I mean, I guess this chase could go on for a while if Dab is not able to get the kill, but he will. And finally, Lucian gets some early game aggression. Now, this does lose a lot of tempo mid, but you definitely destroy Fury's chances of having a normal laning phase. Arrow goes wide, but the sleep is still going to come out. Emery's cannot defend this. It is just the Kha'Zix with boots, I must state once again. Hex will flash out, gets the flash from Septi. We do see a pause, which is a slight violation, which you can see in the chat. I'm not sure if chat's available on stream, but we'll get that sorted out. Don't worry about that. But, I mean, after the pause, it's kind of disaster for Emery's. Emery's is just kind of watching his life flash before his eyes, because, I mean, I guess maybe if he dodges Septi's ability, the speed up won't be there, and he's got boots, which I've mentioned 3 times now, but now for a positive reason, he could maybe run away. But, I don't know. Also, we're going to see it freeze mid-combat as well because of the pause, the way spectator pause works, so be ready for that. But, yeah, go ahead, because I think we have a second.
I think this is going to be a very, very disastrous moment, because now Lilia probably will get a second kill, and this is what I mentioned, right? When you get those early jungle leads where you are able to get 1 or 2 camps, and then you're able to respawn or re-invade, then you getting so far ahead in the jungle department that you will ding level 6 when the enemy is like still not level 6.
Trying to save, but the stun comes out, and Emery's is absolutely going to go down. Don't give it to the Braum. Yeah. Not only gets the kill, just gets to be right next to a camp as well. It's just so disgusting how ahead Septi is right now.
Yeah, and Septi can potentially also take like the red buff. If I'm like greedy, I'm just taking the red buff. I'm saying, yo, mid laner, please TP. Like you basing TP, I'm taking that red buff. And I want my support to be with me right now in order to be able to do that. Because you are getting so much value out of that, because then you can also cycle back into your top lane and say, okay, I just want my bot lane to be isolated. My bot lane is fine. I need to make sure my solo lanes are winning.
Well, yeah, I mean, mid lane was the only lane that looked maybe pretty good, because again, Hex got that solo kill, but it's just everything else has exploded around the mid lane, so it's not even like Hex is even that far ahead. Like, Lucian's not going to do his normal Lucian thing, I guess, which is a benefit, but Kha'Zix is definitely not going to do his normal Kha'Zix thing at all.
Yeah, that Kha'Zix is, it's basically a bug, right? It's just like a bug jumping into you, and you just like, You know when you have those annoying bugs in the summer where you're just like trying to like push them away with your hand and be like, this is basically what this Kha'Zix is going to be doing, unless there's going to be super shutdowns going into the pocket of Kha'Zix. And Emrys is understanding that and saying, okay, I need to get something where I believe I can get something, and because of the shenanigans that happened in the first clear, Emrys has a good timer. So what I have to give Emery definitely is the understanding of where I need to be on the map in order to get something for my team and for myself, even though it's really looking dire.
Yeah, speaking of looking dire, Fury is kind of caught a little bit. Emery's is coming. I've seen Aurora do some crazy things, though. Let's see if it happens here. Aurora ult is pretty good, dodges everything, does not take a tower shot yet, will take the tower shot now. And Emery's getting that kill is pretty big. Meanwhile, bot lane somehow, the 2v2 goes, no, Seraphine's up here. Seraphine coming in to pick up the Lilia shutdown. It will go to Emery's, and everything that you said could potentially happen did just happen. Emery's got 2 kills right there. One of them is shut down. However, they did give up Bongo's life for that.
Yeah, I kind of cast a curse. I believe I gave like 7. I think it was a 700 gold shutdown to Emrys. This is definitely what Emrys needed. If Emrys doesn't get this kill, it's good allocation of the gold, because you understand. Okay, like yes, the Professor Hex is going to scale anyways. The Cassante is not going to be the champion that's going to take over. Yes, Cassante has value, but right now the biggest value is in the pockets of Emrys, and they get that. On the bot side of the map, yeah, Bongo is not understanding. My support is currently on top, so I potentially have to give that wave. If I don't give that way, I will be dove. And it's a 1-for-1 trade, I
going
believe.
aggressive here, but Emrys is here, and this is not a boat with just boots. However, I think Emrys is just a little too slow. So maybe not the best. Needs more boots almost. So that will just walk away. But top lane, it looks like we're going to get that handshake once again. Grub's going down for Lilia. We've got Prio on this dragon, but it doesn't spawn for a minute. So maybe there will be a fight there. And Fury just, oh my god, he's doing... right now he's failing the pain that people have faced against Cassante, but he's the Cassante seeing the new champion on the block. And it's pretty disgusting. Emery does get that blue buff, which is nice. And it looks like Lilia's kind of face checking into some damage. I'm not entirely sure how this fight breaks out. It's actually pretty close, but Jinx is not here yet.
And for the side... for Emrys is definitely getting back into the game, because
he's actually just going in for the 1v1. The sleep will come out, but something is so bursted. Here comes Arrow. Heal comes out, but you have to use all the cooldowns on Emrys. I don't think there's any follow-up though, so Emrys will go down, and now Dragon is spawning. Just a little aggressive, and I think that Hex is in a lot of trouble here. It's gonna get stunned up. The ultimate will come out for damage, but that will be a double kill for Dab. And now everything is coming up for Shurikens. They're even gonna pick up the Jinx kill once again, and Emrys is just a little too aggressive.
Definitely Emrys overstepping there and flashing in order to try to get that kill. Might not be the smartest again. Gets chain CC'd, had a little bit of backup, but this definitely makes 2 kills, quick kills on the side for Dap, and I believe Septi were collecting those kills, and this is kind of where you want to have the kills. And now they're giving themselves a dragon as well, which evens up the score and gives them a comfortably time to smooth through this game.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. Emrys did a miracle by catching up to Septi. The problem is you're still playing Kha'Zix, Cassante into Lilia Aurora. You know, you still got quite a bit of issues, even if your jungler isn't turbo useless. And unfortunately, Emrys plays like the first few minutes of the game didn't happen. Tried to jump in as if he could solo kill Septi with no consequences. Unfortunately, there were immediately consequences.
Yeah, the consequences were a slap in the face, and the book was smacked down to the ground. And yeah, basically now Ash has completed the Shift, Lucian has completed the Essence Reaver, and on the side we have like the Lucian's Companion already completed. And it's going to be a situation where you feel like, hey, they are looking just with Dark Lord's ultimate and trying to set something up. So whenever Dark Lord has Pry, I expect him to like kind of keep their eyes open on mid and trying to see if there's something happening. And this
something
is
happening right now. The Charm comes out while Boulder jumps out, but now the Root comes in. Emrys absolutely can destroy this. The Ziggs ultimate and the Jinx ultimate even gets the kill, but there's nothing up. So it's just gold going over for now. I mean, they're not giving up anything by using those ultimates. Nothing's going to be up for a while. But they're not gaining too much either, other than the kill gold and some tempo on the strat. Wait, actually, maybe they gained the chance to dive this Ashe, who still has ultimate, but no flash. Who does she use the ultimate on? Teleport comes out. Emery's is not taking yet, so it's okay. Ult is wide, and it looks like they are able to get the teleport and the ultimate out without using much. Meanwhile, Fury going for the 1v1, except he's not aware Lilia is here. Still has Sleepy. They do decide to use it. Get that will. Oh, wait, Cassante moment? Looks like Aurora is in a bit of trouble here, suddenly in a 1v1 that she did not want to be in. Looks like Fury is able to outplay that, and that even delays Septi from taking the Herald.
And I have to kind of break this down in little parts because there's so much happening right now, and it happened across the map. So we start off with the situation in bot lane where they kill the Braum. Then what they wanted to do, and this is a good realization again from Emery's and his team, oh, we cannot contest the Herald, so we're trying to dive. And then what happened was Professor Hex was like, okay, Dap wants to TP here. I'm just gonna make sure that I'm canceling, manage to cancel it, even almost gets a kill. And then we have the whole situation on top lane where the eyes on
See the situation top lane, Crampy Beans commits for this tower. Will go low, but not low enough. Still alive, and now Fury has nowhere to run. And that'll be a kill for Septi anyways. Continue your narrative, which now includes a tower going down. Wait, Dap is actually going aggressive too. Hex will just W him out of there, but he has no dash, and there's a Seraphine maybe looking. It looks like Cosmic isn't, so I think Dab will be fine.
Yeah, this will be calming the situation right now, but I don't think we get that much time because Bongo has to definitely respect that because this tower is gone. And at the same time, like Emrys is cross-mapping in. I think this, what I have to highlight already, I said it in the last game, but this is, I think it's beautiful. And a lot of people can take a page out of that book. Understanding we are weak here, so don't even go there. We're just going to the opposite of the map, and we're always making sure if they get something, if they take something, we take something. So you're keeping yourself inside of the game, and this is very, very good to see.
Yeah, and the level gap is completely erased for junglers, partially because the levels get a little bit more spread out here, but partially because Emrys has done a great job of getting back into this game. However, the lanes are still a little bit on fire, unfortunately.
Yeah, the level gap is definitely gone. The item gap not so much, right? We see now the Profane Hydra being picked up as we speak by Embrace, and that is definitely an angle where you can like look to fight, because this is like the Assassin Hydra that everyone wanted, but nobody really wanted. And champions like Kiana, you will see Kiana in your solo queue games in the following days. She's really, really strong right now. So...
Oh, I think Fury's in a lot of trouble here. She has no ability to get out of this. Actually, gets going away, but Aura doesn't care. Just stand up, still kills you because you are 2 health. And Emery's now caught out a little bit. Not going to use the sleep for Septi. So is able to just get the Raptors and jump away, but he's jumping away from a spawning dragon.
And that dragon should be going over to the side. And this is basically what we talked about in draft. Why this Cassandra Aurora matchup is not ideal. And they went to Rumble. They didn't think about the Aurora.
That's behind Dab, looking to maybe not recall, but he doesn't know where the enemy team is. You can see them on top side of River Jungle. They can combat really quickly, and I don't think he was aware exactly where they were on Dragon or not, so we'll finish that recall. Herald used to get a tower, which is pretty big. Getting at least a tower for that dragon. But you still got a solo lane who just cannot match up to the Aurora who's up 2 levels, and a Jinx who is not getting excited anytime soon. So the real question is, how do you get that reset for Bongo or just gold anywhere into Bongo's hands? Because all of these trades that we've talked about cross map have not favored Bongo. I think there was 1 Braum kill. They didn't even get the dive on the bot tower, and so Bongo's sitting on 1 kill. And down a little bit of CS. I mean, it's not the worst. Like, you definitely take it in the Jinx versus Ashe matchup, but right now it's their only chance. Meanwhile, ult comes in onto Seraphine, who has no chance to use her own ultimate. Now Bongo's running for his life. Is gonna cleanse. I don't think it's gonna be enough. Will go down, and suddenly the game is blown wide open. Now Hex will try to find Dab, but Dab finds Hex. They get the damage out. Emery's is not gonna be able to finish off even the Braum. Ziggs will at least, but every member of Legionnaires is going down except for the Cassandra. Yes, Cassandra has a nice flank. There's some low health people. I don't think he's going in on that.
And for the side, in beautiful execution, they started off the fight and was like, okay, we're attacking this turret, and then they massively piled on to the NLE team. Bongo managed to get out for quick seconds, but then was picked up. And it's so good to see this draft being functional and like being flourishing. And you see what I said in the draft. Hey, this is probably going to the side. And for them, now the question is, this soul is not gonna matter. This cloud soul is not gonna win them the game. So what you have to think about is, okay, we want to play for the spot to 2, and we want to set up this Nash as fast as possible because we're playing double ADC, and we just need to have our second items. And when we have our second item, we want to make the vision setup and then invite the enemy team to come into us. And yeah, if the enemy team has to face check, it's going to be very, very hard. And this Aurora is going to be a pain. Like you see
I'm
how
not even sure
this is.
if Hex can match that. And usually you want your control mage to answer the annoying top laner so you're super fed, or that makes it a little bit hard for even that to happen.
Yeah,
and right
the
now
only
they're not
thing you
even
can do is
trying
wait
that.
clear. Yeah.
And so we see people trying to grasp at getting some advantages back, but I mean, just looking at the gold lead. And you're right, Cloud Dragon maybe not the most impactful soul, so Emery's looking for Dab, but Dab's just shooting him down. Now, this is a pretty good assassination attempt, but he goes into the wave, not isolated anymore. Zig's ult doesn't even matter. Emery's is able to get the 1v1, which is pretty big, but that does turn on the signal. We've got to go Baron. Now, the Baron damage isn't that great until Aurora shows up. Aurora here should do quite a bit of damage, and it looks like the side of NLE Legionnaires just says, yeah, you can have that. We're going to go for as many objective bounties as we can get. You get the Baron, and we'll try to hold it off with Zig. So, this is going completely uncontested for this Aurora Rocket, which does not steal it, you know. Just always want to see if that could happen. But they do get multiple... I mean, I think in one tower bot lane, it looks like they might get a second because Ziggs is that strong, but improved recall is pretty good as well. So we'll have to see. A lot of gold exchange obviously favors Akuma Shurikens, maybe the best that NLE can get.
Yeah, but this is a very, very good trade, right? This is kind of what I said earlier. You cannot contest that match whatsoever. So why not trade it for 2 turrets and a kill bot? And we have to understand, it's shutdown gold, right? It's a little bit more. It's like 380 for the first one, then the 300, and then the 780 as you saw on your screen. That's like 1k gold for the Ziggs in the pocket. And we see Ziggs finished up second item. And now it's like almost close to finishing up the Leandris as well. And once you get that, the Zig is gonna burn. And you can see, right, even though the game doesn't look close.
Oh, finds Seraphine. Seraphine might die before he can even ult again. Kane's second time that he's had art button and just unable to lose it because Ash Arrow gets him dead before it even wears off. And these arrows have been on point specifically when finding Kane.
Yeah, and that's
actually the fight of Aurora. I don't know if this is what you want, Hex. You are now trapped in here. Dab is coming. Hex is looking for the burst, just isn't able to find it. Yes, you've got Coffee Bean Splash. Maybe a desperation play. I mean, it's not the worst play. It just absolutely does not work out.
Yeah, but you have to respect it. This is kind of what you have to do, right? You just have to be committed as a team to be doing this. Because if you get that kill, that breaks the moment.
Ash is actually kind of caught out here as well. Cassante moment about to happen. If he can press R correctly, gets him out of the way of the Braum Shield. This will be a huge shutdown. Goes to Jinx. Bongo might pop off, getting excited here, but Lilia is so scary. No one, he's not respecting it. He's gonna go to sleep here. Can't even catch it to sleep. Will be cleansed, but now the flash in is coming. I really want to see the Jinx. We are gonna see Boulder go down. Looks like Jinx was able to get out. So it looks like actually they just get a lot there mid lane. Emery is just gonna be fine. And suddenly NLE Legionnaires is fighting back when we didn't expect that to be possible once again.
Yeah, they keep finding these angles where they can fight back and get something on the board for themselves. And this is definitely, it gives them some slimmer of hope. And if they don't lose this turret here, but I think it will be going over to site for our Coffee Beans, and Dap picked up the gold, split it up. And now Aurora should be, they basically want to do this Access Drake, take the Drake, recall, and then set themselves up for like looking to control the enemy jungle until the next Nash comes up, and looking to start the fights with the Ash ultimate and making sure that it can get picks. Because now if Bongo gets hit by the Ash arrow, Enchanted Crystal Arrow, you will not be able to cleanse this, and there's no Mikaels on the side of Kane.
However, there is no objectives up, luckily. No Baron buff on anyone. Baron is down. So it is just about towers and camps. Meanwhile, Emery is face checking into Aurora. Not what you want to be doing! You can't 1v1 this Aurora, surely! Uses the invisibility pretty well, jumps out, maybe you can! There's a lot of red members slurping around here, though. Coffee Beans has to live, and as long as that happens, they should get Emery's no problem. Knockbacks uses the W to kill the tower before the teleport comes in, but the Ash Arrow finds him, and now he has no W to get out. Trying to burst down the Ash will maybe find it with the Seraph's Embrace, and now it's just Braum not even able to finish the kill. The minions are finally coming, the teleport comes out. W shouldn't be up for another 10 seconds, so I believe Hex is maybe dead once Aurora comes in. Isn't able, yeah, definitely dead here, surely. But they still get some kills back.
Yeah, it's not only the kills, it's the double TP that they're getting out. So 1 kill for 2 teleports, or like 2 kills from the side of Prostofe. 2 kills you're giving over for, you're trading that for 1 kill and 2 teleports. I call that worth every time. Yeah, and the tower as well, right? I call that worth every time, because now you see Legionnaires is finished up, and you saw, like, this Ziggs is going to start hurting. Once Void's upcoming, once the Zetska coming, this should be the last 2 items that finishing this. It's going to get harder and harder and harder. And now we have to...
And usually you have that clock of, oh, they've got 3 dragons. We have got to make this clock happen, where we've got the items before the 4th dragon spawn. You can almost let them have it. It is just Cloud Soul.
Yeah, it doesn't really affect, like, it's the only champions that are really going to be affected by it is, okay, there's like 3 champions, whereas like Lilia, where it's Aurora, and then there's Ashe. But usually when you fight the Ashe, it's more like a catch-up ultimate where you can just get closer to the targets because of approach velocity and the ultimate speed that you get.
So this dragon spawn may not even signal the fight. It might be this Baron spot now. Giving up Baron at this juncture might still be hard. Yes, you have the wave clear of Ziggs. Ziggs still does not like those improved, empowered minions. So I think they do want to make sure Baron doesn't come over, but it's a lot easier to protect against the Baron being taken than it is to protect against a dragon being taken. So right now, it is all about this top sector of the map.
Yeah, and the Nash is spawning in 37 seconds, and what you can see is that Dab is hard pushing the mid at the bot lane wave, and I would like him to see the next wave and then rotating.
Oh,
but I think
it's over. Okay, sorry. That just looked really funny.
Yeah, it's funny. It's one of those cases, right? When Thresh was a champion that was very prevalent in the game, you could hook people over the wall with second instance, right? Because you would like pull them a little bit, and but yeah, Cassante can knock people over the walls if done correctly.
And then Rob just jumps over and says, nah, I don't want to be here. Oh, Emrys gets the Revenge Red Smite. Not as impactful as the first one, but hey, at least you're getting some momentum back. I could outsmite you on this one.
Yeah, and it definitely hurts because this is global red, right? And these changes, I like that we have global red and global blue nowadays, that we get that. Thank you, Riot, for that. And this can like impact the fights really heavily, because now you can potentially get a little bit easier away from the Ashe once she's like sticking on top of you. And
looks like Legionnaires looking for top prio, and Aurora walks away, so never mind. Not impactful, sorry.
Yeah, these are good things, right? Understanding, okay, we need to pick somebody in rotation. We can't just like, we don't have the Ashe ultimate to just play fights, right? And you have to kind of play in that way. You have to like push waves and then hoping people are face checking into the Kha'Zix or walking newer where you can just pick them up and kill them.
Oh, Arrow comes out. Professor X is in so much trouble. He does W out, only going down to a quarter, but this is a big deal for his health bar because there's so many people that can't find him. Meanwhile, being found is Coffee Beans. No way out. Will get shut down over the wall. They're starting the Baron. This cannot be a real Baron whenever you just lost your top laner. Now Emrys is going to sleep. Lily ult used only on Emrys, and Fury is still chasing. Now, yes, they don't have much chase. Braum can stop them. Fury's gonna actually prove me wrong, going in pretty hard. And they've got the wave. They've got no fear of the dragon being started. They can just go straight to Baron. Maybe this trades for soul if they don't do it perfectly, but I think they can just start this Baron.
Yeah, definitely start this Baron, and beautiful pickup. Yeah, assassination of Coffee Beans, who chewed a little bit more that he can bite a little off more, they can chew. And this should be spelling a Nash. Yes, you will probably trade it for soul.
Aurora has teleport. I think they're wanting to fight this. It looks like the Baron is going down to half. They still have Smite available, and Aurora does have teleport after the Baron is over. Septi does fletch against the steal, but Septi absolutely cannot survive here. You have to imagine he will go down. Even the knockover of Bolton, but Dap is looking to go aggressive. Gets Emrys, and Aurora ult is beautiful. Boggle can go nowhere, has going to get caught. They get the Baron and they get the fight. Soul is still available to them. Even Bongo goes down. It's just 5 kills for 1.
This is an absolute disaster. The Nash gets taken. They might be able to end this game off this push. 5-4-0, clean sweep. Nash taken, insult to injury, and this should be the game. They are pushing onto the Nexus. You see the World Cups coming up. There are 6 of them. This is definitely going into the side of hands. And Septi, you are the unsung hero by this play.
Yeah, just running in there as Zanya's. I can take it, and I will delay the fight until Aurora is alive. No problem. And that will even us up 1 apiece into this matchup that no one really expected to go this way. But we are seeing quite some back and forth games. Yeah, you know, you can say that you expected Shurikens to win. I doubt you expected it to go that direction. I really appreciated how much that NLE was able to fight back there despite everything going against them. The draft going against them, level 1 to 3 for jungles going against them. And they still kind of push the game into a state where it's not clear who's going to win until the very end, whenever Septi gets 1 last Smite Steal. You know, starts it with a Smite Steal, ends it with a Smite Steal, and closes the game. Now, for draft purposes, we do have to wonder what this means for NLE. You banned the Rumble, and they brought up the Aurora, so do you have to put multiple bans out there? Because the champions did pretty much the same thing. Made team fights hell for NLE, made the lane hell for Fury especially. Or do you just change the jungle matchup and hope that Fury can pull through once again like game 1, where, yeah, he kind of lost lane and had to struggle, but, you know, Emery's was able to get the resets and make it work out. Not so much on the Kha'Zix, although there was certainly some moments that Emery's was able to perform. But I think that if you just change the jungle a little bit, maybe NLE can make that game work. So draft is definitely going to be different around that pick, in my opinion. Either way, now of course we do see that that NLE will have NLE will have side selection. I'm curious if they take red back like game 1, or if they think they can handle the counter matchups just by having nature of first pick. I don't think that there were that many contested picks for the draft, so I do expect them to take red side. But we will get confirmation on that as soon as possible, of course. And other than that, it's really a question of how do they adapt to what happened in game 2, because I mean, okay, so arguably they lost draft in both games. In the first game, they were able to pull it out. In the second game, the draft difference kind of reared its head along with some key plays. I'm wondering if they can maybe find a draft line that actually leads to a clear plan and advantage that they can play to, rather than having to deal with these games where they're suddenly behind, constantly behind, arguably, and having to find these cross-map plays that make up for the draft and early game deficit. Either way, I think we're going to go to a quick break because the teams aren't quite ready, and clearly we're having some slight technical issues. So we're going to go to a quick break. Whenever we come back, we will be into draft for game 3 of this 3-game series that no one expected to be one. Welcome back. We're gonna get into draft pretty quickly, but I do have exciting roster news for both the teams and production. Soulkeeper's gonna be back for a little bit, at least until we can figure out some issues with Gator because he had a slight power outage. So say hello again, Soulkeeper. We brought you back out from the closet once again. Yeah, it's awesome. Meanwhile, for the games, we've got Piglet coming in for Bongo. Bongo, obviously had some internet issues during Game 2. That's what the pause was for. It did not resolve itself between the pause and the rest of the game, so they will be replacing Bongo with Piglet. And this means a lot for NLE. I mean, not only does it change the draft, because Bongo was a shining light in their Game 1, and maybe a way back in for Game 2, but it's also got to change your mental whenever you're kind of forced to replace one of your team members with someone else just because of internet issues. Now, looks like the bans are coming out and they are about what you'd expect. Adding the Lilia ban, I appreciate it. You couldn't punish it with the Kha'Zix, just ban it. But the Viego ban staying for Akuma makes a lot of sense.
Surely
well.
Aurora's banned here. You don't let Coffee have that again, right?
I mean, this time they would get the counter pick.
Is there a counter pick? Like, what do you play into that? You're just like, yeah, I'll fight Aurora on fill in the blank.
Looks like the Ashe ban is coming out instead. It looks like even with Bongo gone, they want to play through the bot lane once again. It did look like the Ashe was a lot more stable for Dark Lord Oswald. If you get Emery's down there once again, even not on the Viego, maybe you can shut that down and get Piglet pretty accelerated. Lucian first pick is definitely a different angle than Akuma has gone in games. Showing that immediately now, it obviously is a flex, but you have to imagine that it's showing for the mid lane.
Yeah, this is definitely mid. I can't see this really going. I haven't seen it in bot lane this entire split. That would be awkward.
Yeah, the only reason why I would... Oh, Caitlyn is a really nice pickup. You wouldn't put Bongo on Caitlyn. Perhaps with Piglet now, you can put Caitlyn... I mean, I don't know. Maybe Bongo does play Caitlyn, but, you know, he's looked really good on the hyper carries. But you have a sub, you know, put him on Caitlyn. Get the punish out onto Oswald so that way he can't be aggressive. And make it so that way Emery's can play around other lanes while Caitlyn stays safe with that amazing long range. I think it's a really nice draft adaptation to circumstances out of their control. But they still have to add up to Game 1 and Game 2. And it's this time them that are picking the Wukong, as where Akuma were the ones to pick it in Game 1.
Yeah, it's also still a flex. They can run the Caitlyn mid. That's not unheard of at this point, especially Wukong protection. That 90 cal net can keep her pretty safe. She uses that just as her escape.
So I think it was a really nice pick into it, just to be able to put some pressure out while also feeling okay. I could imagine them seeing the substitution and trying to really pick on it a little bit. But Lucian, Ezreal, Zyra as picks definitely makes your team comp a bit squishy. So I'm kind of curious if NLE are going to take this moment after pick, and it's Ziggs. I really like Ziggs into the Lucian again. You got a soul kill on it, Game 2, after all. Might as well take it. Are they going to take this moment to really take away some matchup or some laners top lane that really make this team comp work?
Aurora at this point.
I mean, you take away Aurora Rumble, and you take away what really destroyed your top laner in Game 1 and Game 2, and see if, you know, if Coffee Beans can pull out the third champion to beat Fury on, which would be quite something. So I think we're going to see the Rumble ban for the other ban. Now, what Akuma bans is more up in the air.
So
you
they
can ban
focus
supports
here. Well,
I think...
That's tough.
I think they're going to focus on top lane. Yeah.
They got nice flexes with that Wu.
Yeah, and you know that top lane is probably going to be the last pick for NLE. I see them picking their support next, so I imagine you start banning top laners. We'll get confirmation. It's Alistar. Okay. Alistar ban also works pretty okay. I mean, I don't know. The 2v2 sounds kind of interesting of Alistar Caitlyn into Ezreal. But it's gone anyway, so we don't have to worry about it. This has to be a Rumble ban, you have to imagine. Unless Fury has something really spicy cooked up for the counter matchup.
Yeah, it's very interesting because the Zyra is a flex as well. We're not sure if the Ezreal's going to go mid or the Lucian.
Ooh. Ooh.
The Rumble or the Malphite.
Rumble ban finally
It is the
locked in. I wonder if Akuma's gonna take the bait and pick the Malphite. It's kind of interesting to have like both on your bans. You know, picks it's one thing, but saying we don't know which one to get rid of. I mean, I don't know if that's a bait or just a joke. Or
Gotta
I
love
don't
the
think
respect
Coffee
to
Beans
the
is gonna take
coffee.
Malphite though. I don't know that Coffee would really take Rumble or sorry Malphite here though. He's gonna have to do it blind because obviously they will pick the support here. Braum taken. And I think they have more. I mean, this would be the third champion they're putting on Coffee Beans for the third game in a row. So, curious what they will take to try to snowball the game.
Classic champ pool check, but generally, players up in this elo have a much deeper champion pool than 2.
Ivern means that Zyra would be going support, assumedly. It could be Ivern support. I think that's been out of style for a year now, though.
I have actually
and so
seen
you
that
got-
recently.
Oh, okay. Maybe I need to get caught up again.
Gragas
The
top.
Gragas blind. So this is basically saying your Ezreal and Lucian are your only AD damage, which is a little scary, especially into the, tanks of Wukong Braum, but I think it'll be okay.
So I'll be really
Gragas
interested to
top
see
blind.
if he goes for the Cosmic Drive. With the change to Cosmic Drive that happened, the new meta is Gragas rushing that item.
And Fury finally gets to know exactly what he's playing into this time. Last time he had to pick into either a Jace or a Rumble. Then the second time he got countered. This time he sees all the cards on the table and will pick Aatrox. And I'm kind of excited to see if Fury can win lane with this. Finally getting the counter matchup and perhaps really showing off what can happen even whenever they have to substitute their AD carry on the bottom side. So it looks like we're gonna get the players a little bit of extra time, plus we might have a little switcheroo again of Slow Keeper and Gators, depending on how technical difficulties go. So we're gonna have a really long break, and their predictions will be live soon, if they aren't already. Predictions will be live soon, but we will be back after more than 5 minutes this time. It'll probably be more like 8. But then we will be here for the final game that really has strong implications for the standings of Akuma versus NLE.
You know I don't play right. Just give me the word, You know I don't play right. Don't give me this. I'm gonna get back when I feel like. You know I don't play right. I'll put up a good fight. Just give me the word, You know I don't play right. You know I don't play right. Don't give me this. I'm gonna get back when I feel like. I'm gonna get back when I feel like. You know I don't play right. Just give me the word, You know I don't play right. Don't give me this. I'm gonna get back when I feel like. You know I don't play right. I'll put up a good fight. Just give me the word, You know I don't play right. You know I don't play right. Don't give me this. I'm gonna get back when I feel like. Don't give me this. You know I don't play right. I'll put up a good fight. Just give me the word, You know I don't play right. You know I don't play right. Don't give me this. I'm gonna get back when I feel like. You know I don't play right. Just give me the word, You know I don't play right. Don't give me this. I'm gonna get back when I feel like.
This a sound clash thing, we not come to play. The rhythm and me style ramp thing, pumping up the bass. The rise charcoal, make the fire blaze. Pull up my selector outside, we mash up the place. Pull up my selector outside, we mash up the place. Pull up my selector outside, we mash up the place. Pull up my selector outside. Pull up my selector outside, we mash up the place. Pull up my selector outside, we mash up the
Welcome back to Game 3 of NLE versus Shurikens. I think it's the other way around, sorry. And I've got to introduce another caster. Gator's power is out. I've got Astroglider with me. I might not be able to talk yet, though, because there is quite a level 1 variant. It looks like it's over, though. So, Astra, if you want to say hello to the cast once again.
How are you doing today? I hear you've had an exciting day.
Well, I mean, it's been stable for me, but the other chair has unfortunately been filled by many people. We put Soulkeeper back in his hole, though, so everything is as it's supposed to be.
It is good and dandy to see Soulkeeper back in his hole where he belongs.
Regardless, let's see how Piglet does. You know, it kind of sucks the circumstances that brought him into this team for Game 3. At the same time, you know, it's kind of nice to be. Oh, wait, actually gets a really nice face check. Might not have a problem at all. Gets the stun on Zyra. Warrior's pretty good. Exhaust is great. Boulder does not have a chance of surviving. And Piglet for coming in hot as a sub, getting first blood.
Cheeky little play there from Piglet. Get the first blood. Nice of Kane to let Piglet make sure he got the first blood kill there and not proc anything to take it.
Yeah, and for Emery's, you can kind of maybe relax a little bit. You remember Hex got the solo kill in the first, well, not first, sorry, last game where it was Ziggs versus Lucian. You just got first blood bot lane. You don't have to invade. Yes, Ivern is kind of annoying. And you've got Wukong, which is pretty strong early, but maybe just play around your lanes. And let's not repeat a certain disaster, which obviously you shouldn't let things like that completely change your playstyle. But at the same time, whenever you get first blood bot lane and your mid lane's looking good and top lane's looking okay because that E slightly missed, maybe we can just relax a little bit and get to that power spike for Wukong or influence the lanes that are already pretty strong.
Yeah, we'll be interested to see. I think Sol was talking about earlier if Gragas is going to take the newer kind of build with the going into the Cosmic and try to put pressure on the Aatrox early and see if we can get something going with that Wukong combo. We shall see.
Yep, and Ivern doing typical clear stuff, going to both quadrants a bunch of times, getting that done. Wukong did get a bit of an interesting clear, skipping the golems, it looks like, but not really rushing anywhere, you know?
Yeah, I didn't get to see a lot of the drafts there. Was the Lucian picked early and they knew it was going mid and picked the Ziggs into it? Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so Lucian was first pick, and it was pretty clear that they were going to take it mid. Obviously, it could be a flex, especially once they showed the Ezreal that also could flex mid. But given the previous game and how Lucian does not like to be bot lane very often, this is what Hex wanted to play into Lucian, or at least knew it was a possibility.
Fair enough.
And you know what? He got a solo kill last time, so I don't blame him. Lucian has just not been able to put out the pressure, and this time Emery's is going to be putting the pressure on him. Looks like both junglers are looking around that mid lane. Actually, Ivern kind of cheating towards bot lane, but I don't think Dab is going to go too aggressive here. Emery's just being really patient, finally backs off. Ivern already starting to recall, Root misses, so oh, wait. You know, he does decide to pull off the gank despite the Root missing, and we'll just go back to recalling now. After showing his face for a little bit, you know? A little cheeky, hello, I exist. You can't be too aggressive even with that first blood.
He says hi, and then he walked away. It's okay. We can
typical Ivern thing.
Hello.
Ivern's a nice guy. He'd show up and be like, hey, don't touch my laners like that. I'm gonna let you off with a warning this time, though, bro.
Next time.
Next time, don't
Next
you
time,
dare.
Daisy is coming to say hi.
But this does mean that Emery's is starting his second clear pretty quickly. Just because he went for that reverse clear and is now going for a recall. We're gonna get a quick pause. Oh no, a drink spill. Actually, I think that's my first drink spill I've seen at LXC. You know, usually that's an on-stage thing where you had a different setup. Guess it can happen at home too. Oh dear.
Just know that when we have the unpause, we will have an additional pause right after for a brief second.
Yeah, but I mean, things are looking pretty stable, which I think favors the Ziggs versus Lucian side of the map, right? Like everything else looks kind of like it would just depend on playstyle. Could go either way. But Lucian versus Ziggs, if the game keeps on going without much gold exchanging hands, or without much kills exchanging hands, definitely favors the Ziggs, especially if Dab is just at half health here. They both have teleport, so this isn't even really a tempo advantage, right? They both haven't recalled, and Dab's health bar is just completely eviscerated. And the mini wave is building up for Hex.
Yeah, I mean this is the pro and con to the Lucian, right? You want that early start, you want to be able to bully early, catch a lead, and then build a tempo off of that one. But if you don't get that lead,
Septi is here, but Fury is just going to be under tower. I don't think they really have a chance to go for the dive. Septi will just give a nice little auto attack. I think his first auto attack on a champion all game. But
He said
not
hello
going to
again.
turn into anything. Right. Just a little meaner this time.
Just
Send a little
more
leaf at him.
aggressive. Just shaking his leaf there, saying, oh, don't you make me do it.
Now this does mean Fury has to teleport back, but that is only teleport equivalency now, because Coffee Beans teleported earlier. Dabber's gonna have to find a way to recall, and I'm not sure if Septi is gonna be able to give him that recall power. Now Hex is out of mana, so he's gonna go for it now.
Has enough. Can he get an ult off? And yeah, I was wondering if he was gonna do that. Get the ult, make sure he gets another wave loss. Good job there.
Yeah, both have teleport, and Dab should be able to wave clear a little bit better without mana. But he does have to be wary of the damage, and Braum is on the way too because Wukong started the grubs. Now, this does mean Septi's gonna start Dragon, and it kind of means the mid laners can't really do anything. Actually, Ziggs is coming with no mana. So this might be a greedy Dragon. Ivern does not do Dragon well without Daisy. Ivern's kind of like a Dragonless champion before Daisy comes. They are still attempting it. Wukong has finished the Void Grubs though, and Dragon's still at half. Even if they get this, Emery's is on the way. Septi's low, he's dead! And now Kane can take the dragon. He doesn't care. Is looking for a stun. I don't even think you can turn that because Wukong's on the way. And there's no way you get this dragon whenever Smite is coming. So it's just a complete disaster for Septi. Emery's getting complete revenge for last game. Through his team. And gets the grubs and the dragon.
He's gonna say thank you for leashing that for me, and Hex is gonna say even with no mana, I can do things as a mid, and gets the kill onto poor little Ivern.
Yeah, and now even top lane is kind of going Fury's favor. Now the Q damage and the poke afterwards makes it a bit even, but I don't see an avenue for Akuma to play through these lanes very easily. Now, they can definitely make something, especially once Daisy is available. But right now, all three lanes are kind of on fire, which is their playstyle for the first few games. They've been the one putting Legionnaires under pressure early, and now they've got no winning lanes.
No winning lanes early, and unfortunately for them, unless the Lucian gets a couple kills here, it's gonna be just worse and worse the longer this game goes on, and he's not able to get in lead and not. It's only up 3 CS at this point, so that's not looking too good.
Daisy is available, though. If Fury does not play into this, he sees it now. He doesn't even care. Will eat away, but I think he's almost willing to play this on the edge. There's no help coming, but he's not just giving up this push easily. He is not going to that tower. He's going to get that freeze off.
Does get the freeze.
And he's going to go for the push, I think.
I think Wu, yeah. I like what he's doing here. He's going to go in here. He's going to check the jungle, try to...
Oh, this is the second time we've seen this. Emery's going 10 miles behind the bot lane. Actually, just going for the steal of the red buff, which I appreciate more, especially since that ward is there. And Ezreal's a lot harder to gank. Meanwhile, top lane, Ivor's not here this time. Coffee, you got to be careful. Might go for it anyways. But Fury has ultimate available. We have to watch these ultimates because they're so key right now. Q misses. There's just not enough damage for Coffee Beans. Will E out. Will ult away. Ivern finally does come in. Can Fury 1v2? It's looking close. Emery's, meanwhile, gets off the mega flank. Will just go on Boulder. Boulder has to flash. The Zyra ult's pretty good. Emery's flashed in. Fury trying to 1v2, but it's actually 1v3. Daisy is just doing so much damage. Q misses, though. Daisy knockup will be enough. And Septi will get that kill. Meanwhile, they did just get Boulder without losing anyone in the bot lane play.
Yeah, I mean, fair trade, right? Like you knew you were gonna die top. You managed to hold on while the 3v2 was happening down bot. So you're happy to take that trade.
Yeah, and Piglet is not saying. I mean, like, he's doing just as fine as Bongo would. Maybe doesn't have that hyper carry potential, but they are more than willing to play around the bot lane even whenever they have a sub. And Piglet is showing off right now. You know, Bongo, you better get your internet fixed soon, or else you might not have a spot. I mean, obviously that's a joke, but Piglet's doing great.
You've been replaced. Everybody's replaceable.
Exactly, and
Except for
Emery's
Soulkeeper.
is just
You
as willing
cannot
to pass
replace
bot lane. Right. So, yeah, we've got advantages all across the map. Yes, you did get that kill for Ivern, which will help. Oh, Dab, you're dashing in at the wrong time. You're not aware that Wukong is here. Emery's will absolutely make a second play within a minute to get another kill for another lane.
Gets himself a fine kill on Dab there in the middle. And really talking about that other play before, I would rather that kill go to Gragas, not Ivern. But
yeah, that's understandable too. Something kind of having to match here, it's not going so well. You have no kill pressure on Hex. Ram is here in case you mess up too much and get Dova. You actually might just die. Shield is good. Boulder has to come as well. Now, that does get the flash out of Hex, and he does miss the ultimate on Septi. And Ezreal does not mind being 1v1, so I guess pulling up Zyra is not that big of a deal. Oh, little snipe there.
They traded ults. Easy gave the ult, and then Piglet returned the ult back.
Oh, but now Hex is out of tempo and is not able to escape. He's going out of tower. Dab will get the return kill, which is so big. And it's just off of Hex going a little aggressive earlier. Coffee Bean should be able to E out, be fine. Or not E out, but walk out. So, you know, Hex's aggression on Septi kind of backfiring there a little bit. Does not get the flash out of Septi. Does not get the kill. And then dies on the backswing from tempo from Dab.
The aggression was fine, but he elected to opt to push the next wave that came in so he could get a reset. But at that point, with the aggression and Lucian already back up, he made a poor choice.
It was a bit unfortunate. But giving a kill over to Dab is not going to change the matter of facts of this game. You're still up gold. You're still up a dragon. You've still got scaling. Gonna take a few mistakes like that to really bring this game into Akuma's line of fire.
Piglet's still looking good here, though, so...
Yeah,
watch
I mean,
Piglet.
the poke is annoying. Poke is definitely annoying. But that
Poke
collector's
is
almost
annoying.
done.
And Septi opted to go top immediately, and it looks like maybe they're going to call for Dragon immediately as soon as Septi gets seen, knowing that they're not going to be able to try to get to this Dragon.
Yeah, and again, the first Dragon was kind of awkward. It shouldn't have gone over to Legionnaires, but just the way that it was set up was not kosher. And they do give it over. Oh, Hex taking a bit of damage from Ezra ult as well. I mean, if Wukong cannot finish this soon, it does turn into a fight that's kind of hard with Hex being so low. But Hex can kind of play back and just bomb things. Daisy steal? Nah, not happening. And Daisy will unfortunately be the other thing that dies along with the dragon in the pit.
Rip Daisy.
Rip Daisy. And this means top lane can kind of go aggressive too. You know where Ivern is, and you can probably take the fights despite Gragas having an assist, because it's just an assist.
You know, it looks like he's been feeling out. He knows he wants to try to commit, but he's been kind of hesitant.
Emery's might get found by Septi here. There's also a Gragas here who gets the dash in for free and still has the E available. Emery's is just going for grabs because he knows he's dead. Flashes into the bush, but they were already in the bush, and then a ward was placed down. So not quite able to make that cheese work.
Oops.
And he will give his life. Stream did not see that though, so I can't really comment on it anymore. I don't think Stream sees the chat, unfortunately, but Emery's is trying to beg us to not talk about it. Unfortunately, it's my job to talk about it, so it was seen.
I'm gonna have to give that flash a 10 out of 10, 100%.
You know, it's one of those flashes that sometimes you see in highlight reels. Oh, he flashed into the bush. They'll never see it coming. Unfortunately, the facts of the ground were not there. Usually, you need to make sure they don't have vision in that bush, and that they aren't like just gonna naturally walk into that bush after they give up chasing you whenever you flash over the wall, like, or that they have flash up to flash over. I don't know. Just a bit of one of those like, I'm gonna go for a highlight play because I got nothing else. Kind of just use a 300-second cooldown. Wait, you were talking about it even more after you said not to. I'm sorry, Emery's. Let's move on. Mid lane gank coming out. Hex is in a lot of trouble here. Does W out of one thing, but now Lucian's dashing in. The ultimate's going to be pretty good, and Daisy is not able to get the knockoff. Knockup, sorry. So, Ziggs will be fine for now. And this does mean the tempo is in the favor of Legionnaires to get that jungle pressure for the Herald.
So with the Braum coming over and with Zyra not returning, they're gonna have to try to get this tower down.
Piglet, can you get dove like Bongo can?
Yeah.
The root comes up, the ultimate comes up. There's no Daisy, but even flashing out, that guy's still chasing you. He can take quite a few tower shots. Will flash forward, but gets Piglet's barrier only. And that's pretty. I mean, I'm pretty happy if I'm Piglet. You know, I'm also happy if I'm Legionnaires. They got the Herald. They've gotten 6 scrubs. They've gotten the first 2 dragons. Yes, they lose the flash and barrier of Piglet and maybe the first tower. But Wukong is now behind Dab, and we know Dab likes to go aggressive whenever he shouldn't. Looks like he will be just walking away this time into his team. Doubt Wukong wants to chase into the fog of war. So they will. Oh wait, no, he does. He absolutely doesn't. Dab is just dead.
He said, "No, you're not getting away from me this time."
And it looks like they might even go for more. Wukong is about to find out that red buff is up. Support and jungle are there, however, and Ivern can just smite it immediately. However, you can still go for more. No Wukong ult does get rooted, so it looks like they will just be content making them run away from their own camps. But Emery's is definitely owning this side of the jungle.
Didn't get to see the end, unfortunately, of that Fury Beans exchange there. It looked like Fury was going to go all in, and it looked like Coffee landed that stun at the last second and caused Fury to back off and not continue, knowing that the ult was going to be the next ultimate way. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of continues.
Full drifting from Hex.
Shelly's going
full
for
drifting.
For a ride
going for the dive, actually. Dab just used E and still got knocked up. Hex is in a lot of trouble, however. Knocks himself up straight into the air. Will go down. Dab even lives. So, Hex is unfortunately the victim of his own play. Now, we've got quite the flank and a lot of CC coming out. Piglet is the only damage really here. The ultimate misses from Kane. And how can Piglet get on to this Gragas? And now Ezreal's here. Piglet's dead too. And I think Hex just threw away his entire team off of one Shelly play.
Mistakes might have been made there. Hex? Question mark?
It happens. It happens. Not everyone's as good at drifting on Herald and Herald as everyone else. I mean, actually, it wasn't even that. It was just the W was a little awkward. Being so committed and realizing, wait a second, I'm still a squishy Ziggs underneath tower with Illusion in my face.
Not only that, he was already only at a quarter of his health left when he got in to take the ride for the drift experience. So probably not the one that should have done that, but yeah, it was funny.
And they do get the second tower off that, which is a lot of gold. So even though they gave up quite a bit of gold to the team that's at a deficit, which you never want to do, they are still setting up pretty damn well for this third dragon.
Looks like they've already switched. They've sent Aatrox down there already. They've got the Ziggs now switched up and gone top.
Oh, Septi is kind of having to walk away from this Aatrox now. The Ezreal does come in to support, but it does mean Septi just has to walk away from the dragon setup. Now, Lucian is teleporting in, and it's a pretty nice angle for them to be in. Ziggs also teleporting in. What is the Gragas going to do, though? He's on the other side of the map. Or not other side of the map, sorry, other side of the fight. The dragon is going pretty low. Can Septi get the steal? Here comes the Gragas. Ultimate, not as good as you would hope, I think. And Emery's is getting everyone knocked up. Now Gragas is just alone. Now, the only chance is that they kill Emery's here. It looks like they might get it. There's no smite available now. Dab going in on the Ziggs, but Exhaust will spell doom. There's no chance of steal if everyone on your team is dead. It doesn't even matter if Emery's is also dead. So they will get the third Drake, and they get 5 kills, only losing Emery's. It's just looking so good for NLE.
There, like you had the position, but Gragas was kind of in a weird spot when Gragas came in. Emery's was able to dive 3 and get 3 in the ult, and Gragas just got turned on by the entire rest of that team and just got deleted.
Yeah, Emery's definitely gave his life to make sure that Gragas was not getting any follow-up. Usually you like that tank in the backline, ulting in Caitlyn, getting some damage drop, even if he goes down, as long as the follow-up is there. But the follow-up was getting knocked up by Wukong. And whenever you trade Wukong for Gragas, but you've also got Caitlyn being so safe after the Gragas is down, and Wukong getting off quite a bit of damage of his own. It's hard to see Akuma winning that fight.
Sappy, be careful here. Back away. Don't go make the Aatrox mad.
Do not make Fury angry. It does not go well for you.
And what do you do if you're Boulder? Like you're stuck trying to ward, and then you're gonna eat Braum, and then the follow-up coming from anybody with the Aatrox or Piglet there or Wu, and all of a sudden you're just dead.
What if you face check a Wukong who can one-shot you?
Yeah,
what do you think about that?
And that's just what
I
happened. Boulder
think he
went
will go
in.
down. Now, you did jump the Wukong into the side of Dab, but Dab is also going to have to run away. So, that's a Baron potential. I don't think they want to go for it because it's still a little risky, and they can just play for Soul, they can just play for Tower. But man, is it kind of scary as Dab right now. You can't protect this tower, you kind of have to play to make sure they can't Baron. Oh, I'm getting poked off a bit there. But I think Legionnaires is content to just absolutely wait until Soul spawns.
They're sitting pretty right now. I'm kind of surprised with where they saw the Gragas at, that they didn't at least fake the Baron start to see if they could get him to teleport in and panic, but instead opt to just kind of play this pretty safe after getting the pick. Probably reward and then reset again for Dragon.
Oh, fight might start soon? Doesn't look like it. Emery's just faking out both us and the enemy team. So we will continue this dance
It's like
until
just kidding.
Dragon spawns, you have to imagine. Ziggs making his way downtown to the bot lane, which says they really don't want to contest Dragon because that Ziggs does not have teleport. Honestly, if you're Akuma, do you ever just, you know, hey, Ziggs is down there. We've got 5 people here.
Yeah,
but you've got
right, but
you've got Ezreal. Ivor, you're not taking the Baron anytime soon, and they can probably just walk away with net. Although Piglet did have to flash, and they do get a tower. So, you know, a little awkward effects to go down there. Yes, he does get the wave, but he gets it just outside of bot tower, right? It's not even doing that much pressure. And for that, they do lose Piglet's flash and mid tower. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. If Baron doesn't go down, everyone's eyes are still going to be on this Dragon spawn. And so as long as Piglet doesn't get caught out because of the lack of flash, not all that material of a misplay.
yeah, and I really think that the next time Boulder steps in, teammates need to be there with Boulder to try to prevent.
Speaking of stepping in, oh no, Emery's just walking up.
Emery just said,
saying,
just slap him.
Emery says, I own this jungle, get the hell out. Looks like he's gonna check it again. Doesn't have vision though, and is, oh nope, the clone is rooted. Very good W there. Boulder, take care of himself. Oh my god, I forgot Zyra jungle, because I'm used, or Zyra support, because I'm used to Zyra jungle. That champion is squishy as all. Holy god, Collector Infinity Edge Caitlyn takes no prisoners. Wow.
Chunked her to half. And now I wouldn't be surprised if they call for the Baron. They knew Boulder couldn't step in to get the vision. She was already at half health, but no, it looks like they're content to start trying to cycle over here and start the dragon vision.
Yeah, and it's just a question of what item power spikes can come out for Akuma while this spawn is happening. It's up in 30 seconds. They got the Zyra reset. That's about it. You got 2 items for Ezreal.
Hex just went ahead and said, you're not recalling right there. That was fun.
But how do you solve the soul? You gotta get Daisy to face check, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, you're gonna have to commit.
Oh, speaking of face check, Coffee Beans is the one face checking right now. I don't think that's the one Emery's was hoping for, though. So it will just be an exchange of cooldowns. No biggie, no harm, no foul. And now, Akuma's get the top side of the map in their favor. So they've got a nice little battle lines drawn. No flank this time, so we're not going to see Emery's be able to jump in because Coffee Beans can stop that. However, the dragon is still on their side.
Ooh,
Daisy comes out a little bit early. The Zyra is pretty good. Redemption is just used the stall right now. However, all these cooldowns mean is that they can just walk back to the dragon. Kayn is at half, which is kind of nice for Akuma. But how do they get back into this pit? Dragon's already at half health. Boulder has no ultimate, so he has no threat except for a root. Gonna put out some plants for now. Dab is finally here, but if he walks too forward, he will be dead. Septi coming in for the steal. Does not get it. Soul is down. Now Coffee Beans also will go down. Dogwood Oswald cannot get away from the Wukong. This is so much damage. Dab is the only one that can maybe put out something, but right now he's getting stunned up. Fury isn't even gonna go down. It is 5 kills. They can go straight to Baron after collecting soul for themselves. They don't even want to do that. They have Ziggs. They have Caitlyn. They're gonna go for the end of the game, but they don't have a minion wave, so I think they're gonna reconsider that a little bit. Actually, I'm not entirely sure what they're doing. The jungler's going bot side. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You collected soul. You got 5 kills. You can literally do a dance on the enemy nexus, but it looks like what they're doing is going for 2 lanes of base pressure, getting mid inhibitor tower. I'm not sure if Wukong can get bot inhib tower. So they won't get any permanent, like, you know, they won't get any permanent pressure for the next 5 minutes. It's not permanent. Temporary pressure from the inhibs. But they do get soul, which is definitely permanent pressure of its own kind.
Yeah, they secured it, and really just all the ultimates coming out, and Ziggs there just putting on a poke clinic, just poking them all to half before the fight even starts means, you know, when they committed, they're already at half health and couldn't get anybody low.
And this is what I'll say. This is the second game out of the series where NLE has gotten soul and just been a little bit confused how to end the game. That's a good problem to have. If you keep on getting soul and don't know how to end the game, I don't think it's really going to affect your standings because you're probably just going to win a few minutes later than most teams would. So unless Akuma can come up with some kind of comeback that can punish that bit of a misstep for Legionnaires, they're in such a good spot right now. Oh, Emery's fine Zyra, and Zyra will not live when you're talking about Infernal Soul. That Zyra is dead. You don't even want to see Piglet hold on Zyra at this point.
Yeah, you know, Boulder trying to get some vision in here so they're not blinding the Baron, but again, no one there to protect Boulder, going into Zyra alone against this Wukong, just waiting, and gets smacked in the face.
Yep, and this will be the freest Baron of all Barons. We're actually going to see a flank teleport from Hex. This is so far away, but Fury can definitely stall Beans for a long time. Now, can Coffee Beans dodge everything? No, not a chance. That Infernal Soul just too much damage. Redemption gonna be a little funeral for his corpse, but unfortunately he's gone.
I do believe the correct term there is deleted.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, again, it doesn't really matter if you struggle to end the game whenever you have soul, because you have soul. Now Emery's is gonna get caught up here. It's a little awkward, but look at this ultimate from
Boulder
and now
said, I'm tired of you, and get some revenge.
But he will go down to the Caitlyn ult, unfortunately. And again, like, you can keep on getting these picks. These aren't fighting back like we saw in Game 2 from NLE Legionnaires. It's just so much harder to fight back whenever you're fighting against sold up Ziggs and Caitlyn.
Piglet has done really good staying safe this whole time. Really has not been threatened at all during this phase of the game.
Especially for Caitlyn that had to come in Game 3, step up, and just show up out of nowhere, because Piglet did not expect to play today. He's got Bongo, but now they don't, and Piglet's coming in and says, you can count on me too. I'm totally fine to carry this game.
Don't worry, guys. I brought my good rifle with me today. I got this.
Pick me, Caitlyn. You ain't got no worries. And you can see that Emery's is really popping off on this Wukong as well. You know, not the best Kha'Zix performance, but you put him on a team fight oriented, nice little snowball champion, and he will show up. I mean, even the Kha'Zix showed up in a lot of ways. But this is just an absolute clinic that Emery's is showing up with for sure.
Yeah, I love the Wukong, especially going into like this Lucian.
Oh my god, he could just go over and kill all of them, and he isn't aware of what's over there. He does lose the wolves. But man, that was scary.
Ulted. But yeah, when you have that Lucian and you have that Ezreal and
wait,
Zyra,
Kane?
what
Kane,
dab?
oh.
What do you dab? Just flame fire there?
Meanwhile, I mean, any fight is a good fight. It really does not matter how you set up this fight as long as Caitlyn doesn't just literally right-click into the enemy fountain. I can't imagine a fight where they can kill Piglet. This tower is going to go down. They're getting some damage on Kane, which is good. Coffee Beans gets a nice engage, but I don't think it's enough. They have to run away, and their structures are just not there. You can see the Nexus towers are still under pressure, and Dab's taking a lot of damage. Septi is going to redemption, so he will heal for a little bit, but look at this fight, what they're going into now, the minions, and Emery's just gets on everyone with the ultimate. 180 carry, down, 280 carries, down, everyone is down for Akuma, and NLE will pull up this upset that no one expected, and take it down in 3 games with the substitute 80 carry.
Nice. Emery's just took control there at the end. Said we want to end this now.
Yeah. You know what? There's no wrong ultimate for Emery's in that situation. You've got Infernal Soul, you've got a Caitlyn behind you. As long as you're not literally 1v5 with everyone on the opposite side of the map, there will be follow-up, and they will absolutely all die. And it was just Emery's putting focus on the dragon again, putting focus on the bot lane again, despite the substituted carry, and it all works out.
Worked out just fine for them. Lucian not able to get an early lead. Dab on piling. Lucian not able to get that lead on the Ziggs, and just kind of from there, the game plan just at that point was kind of dead in the water. They couldn't get the leads they needed to get any bullying done, and then Emery's just collecting kills across the board.
And this is just a major upset. If you look at the standings, we're talking about the number 2 team losing the number 4 team, which doesn't sound like much, but I don't think many people have put Akuma under much pressure at all, other than dropping point. Oh, no, that's a matchup that's coming up soon. I need to look at the standings once again. Yeah, dropping point is their 1 loss. I believe they might have had 1 more loss against Ego Nog, which is very surprising given the current standing. So not many people have pressured them. NLE showed that it can be done. And NLE are making a name, like a very strong contention. I can't see them not making playoffs at this point. Now it's just a question of seeding.
Question of seeding? It will be answered very soon, I believe, right? Gonna have those questions answered. Who got those points today? Who got those? Thank you guys for your point donation today. I do love collecting points, especially when they belong to Soulkeeper.
Absolutely. Anyways, yeah, so it's a real question of how this playoffs will look like. I mean, Warden has just been completely shaken by everything that has happened so far. I'm really excited for playoffs. Next week has a really exciting matchup of Dropping Point versus Seneca, which is an interesting matchup for the standings for other reasons that we'll go over next week. And every team on this list has made some kind of reason for why they should be there. And I think we will continue to see that. NLE showing up pretty heavily in this series. And I think playoffs for Warden are just going to be anyone's game, basically.
Wide open field. Hopefully, tighten up some of the play, and we're going to see some fireworks going into the playoffs. Piglet coming in, stepping up onto Caitlyn for this game 3, showing you how to remain calm during a stressful situation. Coming in last minute, cold, no, not even a warm up.
Yeah, just hey, I guess I'll play game 3 and you're important for a standings matchup. No problem. Put me on Caitlyn, gank me, I'll deliver. And absolutely, he did deliver. And I think I have to shout out Emery's here as well. Yes, there was that Kha'Zix game where there was a bit of a stumble, but even in that game, he was able to make plays. And in the games where he was, in the game 1 where he was led a deficit by the draft, he still was able to pull back so many good plays just on the basis of jungle fundamentals. And in this game, whenever he's given some winning lanes, be it either draft or just play of the players, he just makes it look very easy to get soul.
Yeah, Embers looked really good, really comfortable on the Wukong. Even the early gank that went against Fury when they traded the kills down below, Fury didn't die the rest of the game. Not a single death from Fury the rest of the game after that gank. So well done to the Aatrox there. Fury piloted pretty well there. Kind of surprised we didn't see Coffee playing the new version of Gragas, instead opted into the kind of standard Lich Bane setup with the Archangel staff. So I have to see if he's going to start trying to run that other version with the Cosmic there moving forward. But thank you, Scarlett, for tolerating me this evening. It was nice to come in at the last
I mean,
minute.
I only have 2 for 1 game, so. But regardless, thank you for everyone who showed up and dealt with our technical difficulties. It is kind of humorous to have 4 casters in one night, but hopefully Monday it'll be different and we will get through, it normally. And hopefully you guys will return for Monday. But if you don't, Thursday is going to be such an exciting game for Warden. So if you can only make one LXC game, please make it Thursday, because you really want to see Dropping Point versus Seneca. And you want to see on the background, on the updates of what happens off screen, because all the matches are very impactful. NLE, which we saw today, I believe. Let me look at the schedule. Hopefully they don't have a bye, because that would be really embarrassing. Okay, so they are against Ego Nog next week. So I'm not sure entirely how impactful that will be for the standings unless Ego Nog pull off the upset. So they've still got to take it seriously. But I think the more important matches are the streamed one, which is Seneca versus Dropping Point, and then Contingent versus Street Logic. Okay, sorry, I'm reading this and getting a little confused. Are Street Logic playing twice? Oh, after game. Okay, I see. They're doing some makeup games, I think. Regardless, the standings are going to be absurd. So keep an eye on this league. Look at the standings at all points. And we will see you back either Monday for all the rest of the leagues or Thursday for Warden. Thank you all for showing up, especially Astro showing up last minute, just like Piglet for Game 3 substitute caster. And we will see you then.